A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Music we love. Rebroadcast especially for all you men and women in the armed forces of the United Nations. Music played by the orchestra under the direction of Howard Barlow and sung by Richard Crooks.
If I could tell you of my devotion, if I could pledge all my love so true, then my confession would find expression in all the music my heart sings to you.
The program opens this evening with the march High School Cadets by John Philip Sousa. Richard Crooks has chosen as his first selection, A Dream by Grieg.
One day I dreamed a lovely dream. I loved a tender blue-eyed maid. 'Twas in the early glow of spring. 'Twas buds broke forth, the brooklet gushed. We heard the village bell beyond. With youthful bliss our hearts were flushed, and lost in lovers' joy profound. And lovelier still, and in my dream, reveal our future joy to be. In all the tender glow of spring, within the greenwood's leafy shade, the brooklet gushed, the buds broke forth, the village bell rang out apart. I held thee fast, I held thee long, and I will lose thee nevermore. Nevermore, nevermore. Oh, springtime in that shady wood, forever I shall live in you. There in my dream I saw the truth. My dream became
Morning, Noon, and Night by Soupe. Richard Crooks has sung Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes. In honor of the victorious Allied armies, Howard Barlow and the orchestra now play March Lorraine.
If you listen, I'll sing you a sweet little song of a flower that's not root and dead, yet dearer to me, yes, than all of its mates, though each holds aloft its proud head. 'Twas given to me by a girl that I know. Since we've met, faith, I've known no repose. She's dearer by far than the world's brightest star, and I call her my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. Someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose.
Richard Crooks has sung My Wild Irish Rose. Howard Barlow and the orchestra now play Gigue and Finale from the Henry VIII Suite by Saint-Saëns. the aria Una furtiva lagrima from L'Esir d'Amore by Donizetti.
negli occhi suoi spuntò quelle fastose giovani in vidiar sembrò. Che più cercando io vo, che più cercando io vo, I palpiti sentir, confondere I miei poso e sospiro, si può morir di più. Non chiedo, cielo, si può morir di più, non chiedo.
This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
presenting Loretta Young in Doctor in Crinoline, with Walter Houston as commentator, on the Cavalcade of America, sponsored by the DuPont Company, maker of better things for better living through chemistry.
Good evening. This is Walter Houston. Here in Hollywood, where there is an abundance of both beauty and talent, both seem almost commonplace, are taken for granted by us who live here. And yet, tonight's Cavalcade star, beautiful, gracious, and talented, has carved a special place in our hearts, as we know she has in yours. And so I take special pleasure in introducing her to you, Miss Loretta Young, who in our Cavalcade play portrays the role of Elizabeth Blackwell, a woman who dared to fight against the prejudices of her time, who defied the notion that a woman could not enter a profession, and was the first woman to be granted a medical diploma in America. The year is 1899, in the village of Hastings in England. There, on a hillside cottage called Rock House, the world-renowned Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell spends her declining years with her friend and companion, Kitty Barry. Now in the peaceful garden of Rock House, on a sweetly warm June afternoon, Dr. Elizabeth sits with a young English friend, Laura Dawson, while Kitty reads aloud a letter from America, from the medical college from which Dr. Elizabeth graduated 50 years before.
And so ended our celebration of the 50th anniversary of Geneva's most distinguished graduate. With every good wish for your continued health and happiness, in which the governors, the faculty, and the student body of Geneva join me, I am, dear madam, your humble and obedient servant, William Johnston, President.
Dr. Elizabeth, how very wonderful.
Is that all, Kitty? Goodness gracious, Dr. Elizabeth, what more could you ask?
Oh, no, you're right. I couldn't reasonably ask for more.
Well, I should think not. An endowed college for women, and the first dormitory named for you, the Elizabeth Blackwell House.
Oh, this must make you feel very proud and happy.
Yes, Laura. Yes, I suppose it does, my dear. I suppose it does.
Dr. Elizabeth, you're tired?
I think perhaps I am, Kitty. I'll just go inside and rest until tea time.
Well...
No, you two sit still.
Oh, let me help you.
No, stay here with Laura. Laura, dear, remember, I expect you on Wednesday.
Oh, yes, I'll remember, Dr. Elizabeth. Thank you. Miss Barry, can she possibly know how marvelous she is?
In a way, dear, she knows.
Oh, I wish so that Father could meet her. A woman doctor. He makes such a fuss because I want to go to Paris to study painting. And when I think what she did, it must have been very difficult for her.
Oh, it was. I wasn't with her during the early years, but she told me about them many times.
And she always wanted to be a doctor?
No, not always. The idea was most distasteful to her at first, but she believed it was a kind of call for her to help the world. I think she finally made up her mind in the summer after her father died. That was 1844, when she was 23. She was living in Cincinnati then, and she told me about a morning when she talked with her Aunt Barbara, her father's younger sister.
Aunt Barbara, what did Dr. Muzzy say? Oh, I knew he wouldn't approve, but what reason did he give?
What reason would he give? That no woman could or should be a doctor. American medical schools won't admit you, and he says Paris schools are so frightful that no lady could stand instruction there. He was horrified by your idea.
Well, perhaps I'm not a lady then.
Elizabeth!
Oh, I didn't mean that, of course. But what is there for me to do? Teach? Get married?
Yes. You could teach until you marry.
But nobody wants to marry me. And I don't want to teach.
There are some things you have to accept, Elizabeth.
Why?
Because that's the way the world is. We have to accept it. If we don't, we suffer needlessly.
But the world hasn't always been the same. Why, once there were no doctors, men or women. And once people believed the world was flat. Oh, don't you see? I have to do something I think of value in the world.
Yes, but something else. Not medicine.
No, all through Father's illness, I kept thinking about it. We women have to look after the sick, and yet none of us are trained properly to do it. I've made up my mind.
Well, Elizabeth, if you're really decided, your family won't stand in your way. We'll help all we can.
Oh, dear Aunt Barbara, I know you will. And I know, even though you don't, that someday you'll be so proud when you can say, Elizabeth was the very first woman doctor.
But it wasn't easy for Dr. Elizabeth Laura, writing to one medical school after another and being turned down by every one of them, until she finally got a letter of acceptance from Geneva. That was one of the happiest days of her whole life. But when she got there and interviewed the president...
Please have a chair, Miss Blackwell.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Lee. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get here before term opened, but the letter came so late.
Quite so. Miss Blackwell, I may as well tell you the truth. Your arrival here is a surprise.
Well, why, Dr. Lee?
And a source of some embarrassment.
But I received a letter from the college saying that I'd been admitted.
My dear young lady, when your application was received, the faculty turned it over to the student body for action, Geneva being a democratic institution. As a prank, the students voted to admit you.
Oh.
To be frank, I would rather you didn't come here. I'm sure that you would find the studies most repugnant.
May I ask a question, Dr. Lee?
Certainly.
Your letter of acceptance, doesn't it constitute some kind of a legal contract?
Well, if you choose to put it that way, I suppose we'd have to accept you or lay ourselves open to a suit for damages.
Oh, but I want no damages. I only want to learn to be a doctor.
I can assure you, young lady, that the students will make your life intolerable. I mean, there are certain jokes that men play in the dissecting room.
I fear, sir, that those are among the risks I shall have to take. Will you have the goodness, please, to enroll me as a student?
The townspeople will not be friendly. There'll be unpleasant notoriety.
Will you please enroll me as a student?
If you insist, Miss Blackwell, I have no alternative.
I do insist, sir. I am determined to become a doctor.
Well, I have that article on the doctor in petticoats. You want to hear it?
Indeed I do.
As we previously informed our readers, a young lady named Blackwell is enrolled in Geneva College. She is decorous in appearance, and when she removes her bonnet, she exposes a fine phrenology. However, we suggest that if she attains a medical degree, she confine her practice to disorders of the heart. It must be admitted that her effect on the class has been good.
Gentlemen, before we begin our anatomy class, our new student at Geneva, Miss Elizabeth Blackwell, is waiting outside the classroom in the hall. There has been some doubt as to whether we should admit her to the dissecting room, and she has agreed to abide by your decision.
On to the ladies. We vote for trousers for all.
What is your verdict, gentlemen? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very well, then. Will someone call Miss Blackwell? And may I suggest, with a lady in our midst, we shall have to curb our masculine merriment.
No, Laura, it wasn't easy. But when her first term ended, she went back to Philadelphia feeling she had really accomplished something, that she was on the road to becoming a physician. To gain experience between school terms, she went to Blockley Almshouse and volunteered to work. It was both a poorhouse and a hospital, shunned by all good citizens. But for medical students, there couldn't be a better laboratory. The director, Mr. Gilpin, listened to her story.
No, madam, no. For your own good, I must tell you that it's quite impossible. Why, the worst criminals are here, the outcasts, the very scum of the earth. No decent woman should be exposed to such an atmosphere.
But I'm studying to be a physician. What these people are cannot matter to me. What matters most to me is that they're ill. And that by working at Blackley just like any other medical student, I may gain experience to help them.
Madam, you may be able to forget your sex. I cannot. I must refuse your request to enter Blockley as a junior resident.
Oh, please, don't open the door yet.
Well?
Mr. Gilpin, have you never faced some insurmountable difficulty?
Insurmountable? I don't recognize the word. I've always gotten what I wanted.
That's what I thought.
What's that?
That was the very atmosphere that I felt when I came in here.
Oh, yes? Well, what of it, Miss Blackwell?
Well, Although I'm not a man, I have a little of that quality myself. And I hoped you might recognize it, and sensing how similar we are, you might help me.
By gad, ma'am, I have to admire your courage. After all, if you can put up with what you'll find here at Blockley...
Oh, I can, sir, I can.
We should be able to put up with you.
She was assigned to the women's ward, and everywhere she found indifference, callousness, filth. But worst of all, she found she was rejected as a doctor, even by the sick and outcast. Her only friend at Blockley was old Dr. Benedict, the head physician, and the only one beside herself who cared about the misery there. With the summer wore on, and in August the typhus came. The wards were filled, even the corridors. Elizabeth worked hard, helped in every way she could, but she was deeply discouraged. One night, sitting just off the children's ward with Dr. Benedict.
And there's no known cure, Dr. Benedict?
Typhus is a disease of poverty and filth, my dear. Where they don't exist, there's seldom any typhus.
Poverty and filth. Then why are these poor wretches, and even the children, sent here to Blockley?
You're the place to send them.
Well, how can we hope to do any good for them here?
We can't.
Can nothing be done? Nothing?
I don't know, my dear. I've been trying for 20 years to make a dent in public indifference. I haven't accomplished anything. But perhaps you...
No, not I.
Why? What's the matter, my dear?
Well, I was going to tell you tonight, Dr. Benedict. I'm not going back to Geneva this fall.
Not for your second term?
No, I suppose it'll be teaching after all.
Well, isn't this a radical decision? You've been very helpful here.
No, I know, as a nurse. But not as a doctor.
Oh, but my dear...
Dr. Benedict, I've tried. My family opposed my becoming a doctor, and all my friends. It was a lonely decision I made.
I know. Believe me, I know.
Well, the students at Geneva laughed at me. The town people. And the newspapers. But I didn't mind that. But here I found the one thing that I...
Go on, Elizabeth.
Well, how can I ever practice medicine when even the sick reject me? How can I? If only one...
Eventually they'll become accustomed to you, Elizabeth.
Oh, now they let me bring them water and fix their beds. But any nurse can do that. But if I look at their charts, they laugh. They make fun of me with the other students.
Doctor!
Listen.
Doctor!
That's little Mary Jean. She's calling you, Doctor.
Come with me, my dear.
Doctor! My head hurts. Doctor!
I'm here, Mary Jean.
Doctor?
I'm here, child.
No, the other one. The lady doctor.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I heard her. Yes, Mary Jean. The doctor's here.
Yes, in that moment, the doctor was there. Elizabeth never faltered again. In the fall, she went back to Geneva and studied harder than ever. And when the second term was over, she stood proudly with the other students in the chapel of the medical school, waiting to receive her diploma.
Domine Smith.
Thank you, Doctor.
Domine Fields.
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Domine Hale.
Thank you, sir.
Domina Elizabeth Blackwell.
Sir, I thank you. By the help of the Most High, it shall be the effort of my life to shed honor on your diploma.
You're listening to Loretta Young as Elizabeth Blackwell in Doctor in Crinoline on the Cavalcade of America, brought to you by the DuPont Company, maker of better things for better living through chemistry.
Elizabeth Blackwell graduated from Geneva Medical College in 1848 and became the first woman in the world to win a medical degree. As our play continues, Kitty Barry, Dr. Elizabeth's ward and companion, is telling the story of the doctor's life to a young English girl, Laura Dawson.
2 years' study in Paris and London. Was so much study required, Miss Barry?
Oh, no, Laura, not for a man. But Dr. Elizabeth found out she had to be better trained than anyone else to be accepted anywhere. When she finished her studies in London, she went back to New York with a plan that she had been thinking about ever since she was at Blockley. She went to her Quaker friends, Mr. Stacy Collins and his daughter Cornelia, and asked them to drive with her through a certain section of New York.
Mr. Collins, stop the carriage here near the curb.
Ooh.
Now look down this street. Those tenements are known as fever nests. In them, men, women, and children are crowded together in unbelievable filth. Thousands of them. And more crowding in whenever a boat docks from Europe.
Just look, Father. The street swarms with children.
Poor wretches.
And so many hundreds never grow up. Die in the epidemics. And in all this district, Mr. Collins, there's no single medical charity of any kind.
Nothing at all, Elizabeth. No dispensaries.
Not one. So I've made up my mind to establish a charity office here. For women and children, a place where they could come for diagnosis. And for which I could go out on visits.
You will find it hard, Elizabeth. Harder than private practice.
But no one will let me practice, even if that was what I wanted to do. Here the people would come. They have nowhere else.
But they will need considerable money, Elizabeth.
Oh, not a great deal, Mr. Collins. $50 to rent a small room, a few dollars for medical supplies and a few furnishings. And a sign for the door, which I can paint myself.
Thy needs are indeed modest. Thy good work should not be wasted.
Wait, Father. $50 is not going to be enough.
Oh, yes, it will. Enough to start with. And that's the important thing, to get this work started.
I agree, Elizabeth, but once started, it must continue. You open the dispensary. Some way I'll raise the funds to keep it going.
And so, in one small room in Tompkins Square, Dr. Elizabeth opened the first New York dispensary for indigent women and children. Her money didn't go far, and she had to move. First to 3rd Street, then to 15th. But finally, she managed to raise $10,000. And with that, she opened a fine, big infirmary on Bleecker Street. Crowds gathered in the street to stare at the building and to talk about the woman doctor. But no one came for medical care. No one. Until an Irish dock worker named Kevin Dwyer was brought in, half dead with pneumonia. Elizabeth saved him, and he was her first real friend on Bleecker Street. The morning he left the infirmary.
Well, you're fit again, Mr. Dwyer. But you leave me with no work.
You're not one to sit still, Doctor.
No. No, I'm not.
They'll come flocking to you now, I'm sure of it.
With all those stories about me? I wonder.
I heard those same stories, Doctor.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure you did.
And to be truthful with you, if I hadn't been dying and down in my luck, I wouldn't have come here myself.
No, I don't suppose you would.
But you saved my life, Dr. Elizabeth. And I'm saying if there are any more of those stories, and I hear them, well, I'm Irish, Doctor.
I know, but...
And you can count on Kevin Dwyer, Doctor. You're going to have plenty of work to do from now on.
And perhaps it was because of Kevin Dwyer, but before long the infirmary was always busy. By that time, there were other women doctors who came to help. Then, one night, one of them, a surgeon, operated on a young girl for appendicitis, and Dr. Elizabeth assisted her. They were both tense and worried because they knew the appendix was inflamed. And Dr. Elizabeth, who had her fingers on the girl's limp wrist...
Emily, she's dead.
Oh, no.
Her pulse has stopped.
She can't be. She can't.
She's dead. I'll cover her.
Oh, Elizabeth, why don't we know
It
more?
wasn't your fault, Emily. It was the inflammation. She waited too long.
Are her people here? On the lawn outside. Her husband and others. Where are you going, Elizabeth?
I have to tell them.
Elizabeth, don't go. We've never lost a patient here before. We don't know what they'll do. Wait.
We must tell them, Emily. Even if they tear the building down. We must tell them.
Elizabeth, he's brought more men. If you'd only waited... Did you fasten all the shutters? Yes, but that won't keep them out. I should have gone for the police before...
Where's Marie?
Upstairs with the patients. Elizabeth, the door won't hold.
I'm going out to talk to them.
No, Elizabeth, no, please.
I may be able to hold them off until the police get here.
Oh, they're breaking the windows. You can't go out, Elizabeth. They'll... Oh.
Stop, you here!
Who was that? I don't know. Now, look. Oh, Emily.
Anyone touches this door, he deals with me first. And you listen to me.
It's Kevin Dwyer. Let's go to the door.
Heard a lot of wild talk here tonight. And I'm ashamed of it. Ashamed of the whole ward.
Don't open the door yet. Listen.
I heard you call Dr. Elizabeth a murderer. You, Jim Navy. She says that your youngest was a truth last week. And you, David. Your wife's been coming here months now with a rheumatism. Now she's getting well. There's not a man here who hasn't seen Dr. Elizabeth going up and down these streets. Into homes where no other doctor would go. Because of the car.
Come, Emily.
Sure. Girl died here tonight. But she died of our ignorance. She should have been brought here days ago. Their family, no.
But... Dr. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Kevin Dwyer.
It's all right, Doctor.
Could I speak to them?
Sure, Doctor.
Now, the doctor's going to say something now. No one speak out of turn.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Thank you. Kevin Dwyer said a girl died tonight of your ignorance. But it was through my ignorance, too. We know no cure for what she died of. Now, many of you think, as a woman doctor, I know less. But I'm trained. And I share knowledge available to every doctor. And more, as a woman, I share with your mothers and wives and sisters a knowledge of the terrible waste of needless death. For that has always been women's greatest burden and sorrow. Now, could I bear that burden afterwards if I had failed to fight for a human life?
Later, the coroner investigated and the hospital was cleared of all blame. And from that time on, everything went ahead. The Civil War came and Dr. Elizabeth trained nurses. Then New York State granted her a charter to give medical degrees to women from her hospital. When that happened, her pioneer work in America seemed ended, and she came here to England to help her old friend Florence Nightingale. That's about all, Laura. You know the rest. Dr. Elizabeth. Dr. Elizabeth, it's time for your tea.
Oh, is it so late, Kitty? Oh, did Laura go?
Yes, just a moment ago. The sun has almost set.
I must have dozed. You had a long talk with Laura.
Quite a long talk, dear.
It's strange, Kitty. I was dreaming, or remembering, all those years. Geneva, the time I went to Blockley Ann's house.
Were you, Dr. Elizabeth?
Oh, I must be getting old. Well, let's have our tea now. And read me the letter again from Geneva College. The college that admitted me as a joke.
to you, Loretta Young, and to all other members of tonight's DuPont Cavalcade. I've often wondered just what we'll do with all our airplanes after the war. Well, the other day I learned about some uses that we'll put some of them to, such as spraying and dusting our forests to help get rid of pests that are destroying them. Some of this work has already been tried, I'm told. And here's the man who knows the whole story, Gail Whitman.
Thanks, Walter. I don't think anyone knows the whole story because we've only begun to use planes this way. But already it shows great promises. For example, there's a pest called the spruce budworm. In the past half-dozen years, it has killed 9/10 of the balsam fir and half the spruce trees in some badly infected areas. Areas containing as much as 15,000 square miles of timber. Well, this year, the Canadian Department of Agriculture and the United States Bureau of Entomology and Plant Quarantine ran some tests. They used planes to spray chemicals from the air and kill the budworm. The United States supplied a low-speed biplane. In Canada, they used an autogyro. Both planes are equipped with jets that can handle concentrated spray mixtures. And in a single day, they covered as much land as a machine on the ground could cover in an entire season. And, of course, planes can fly over regions ground crews could never reach. So here's one worthwhile job for planes after the war. Spraying the forests, safeguarding millions of trees badly needed for lumber, pulpwood, and plastics.
What about the farmers using planes that way, Gain? You mentioned that to me before.
That's right, Walter. Insects now destroy billions of dollars worth of fruits and vegetables every year. Planes already have been used to dust or spray potato fields in Wisconsin, cotton in the South, and vegetables and fruits in Texas and New Jersey. By flying just above the tops of the plants, they can spread clouds of chemicals from nozzles placed under their wings. But this is just the beginning. So you see, insecticide dusts and sprays for forest and farm, laid from low-flying airplanes, represent an after-the-war development of great promise. A number of dust and spray chemicals have been developed by DuPont, manufacturer of better things for better living through chemistry. And now here's Walter Houston.
Next week's Cavalcade play comes to you on Christmas Day. And it's a special holiday story called America for Christmas. And the pleasure of playing the part of the master of ceremonies for a USO camp show has fallen to me. A role I rather like because it carries me back to my vaudeville days on the old Keith and Orpheum circuits. The story will be especially heartwarming to those of you who have loved ones in the fighting fronts. Men and women who are thinking of a different Christmas, a Christmas at home with families and friends. I hope you'll be with us to hear America for Christmas next Monday on the DuPont Cavalcade of America. Thank you and good evening.
Loretta Young appeared through the courtesy of International Pictures and may be currently seen in And Now Tomorrow. The music on tonight's cavalcade was composed and conducted by Robert Armbruster. Jeanette Nolan appeared in the role of Kitty. This evening's cavalcade play was written by Merrill Dennison and was based upon Rachel Baker's book, The First Woman Doctor, published by Julian Messner. This is Gain Whitman inviting you to tune in next week to America for Christmas with Walter Houston. Brought to you by E.I. DuPont de Nemours and Company of Wilmington, Delaware.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Colgate Tooth Powder's Theater of Romance brings you in just a moment Casablanca, starring Victor Jory and featuring Dooley Wilson. But first, latest reports from doctors on the 14-day Palmolive plan.
Chicago reports better complexions for 73%. Atlanta reports better complexions for 88%.
In city after city, doctors tested the 14-day Palmolive plan on all types of skin, and 2 out of 3 of all women tested got better complexions in 14 days.
What is this 14-day Palmolive plan?
Wash your face 3 times a day with Palmolive soap. Then each time take 60 seconds more to massage Palmolive's lovely soft lather onto your skin as you would a cream. Then rinse.
This cleansing massage with Palmolive's lather brings your skin its full beautifying effect.
See what Palmolive can do for your skin in 14 days. Remember, doctors prove Palmolive's beauty results.
Tonight and every Tuesday night, Colgate Tooth Powder brings you the Theater of Romance, featuring each week your favorite stars and favorite stories and plays especially adapted for radio. And here is your host to tell you about tonight's presentation, Casablanca, starring Victor Jory.
Good evening. Casablanca has always been one of the world's great crossroads, but it was never more so than in the months right after the fall of France, when its hotels and cafes were jammed to the doors with refugees desperately killing time until they could go on to find safety in America or another free country. Our story tonight is told by a man who owned one of those cafes, Rick Blaine.
Seems to me everyone in Casablanca came into my cafe that evening. The gambling rooms were crowded, the bar was packed, and every table was full. We'd had an accident during the early part of the evening. Senor Ugarte had been shot by the Gestapo. They thought he had some letters of transit that would mean passage out of Casablanca on the Clipper for 2 lucky people, but they didn't find them on him. The reason they didn't find them was because Senor Ugarte had given them to me earlier. No one knew that for certain, although 1 or 2 suspected it. The first person to approach me on the subject was Captain Renault, the French prefect of police.
We're going to have a good many interesting guests here in the cafe tonight, Rick. Major Strasser of the Third Reich, for one.
Yeah, I can do without him.
And Victor Laszlo for another.
Laszlo? Is Laszlo here in Casablanca?
Ricky, this is the first time I've ever seen you so impressed. You know him?
No, but Laszlo succeeded in impressing half the world.
Yes. That is why Major Strasser is here. See that Laszlo doesn't preach America.
It'll be interesting to see how he manages his escape.
He will not escape.
10,000 francs says he will.
I'll make it 5,000. I'm only a poor, corrupt official.
It's a bet.
No matter how clever he is, he still needs an exit visa, or I should say 2. He's traveling with a lady.
Huh?
Rick, there are many exit visas sold in this cafe, but we know that you have never sold them. Don't start with Victor Laszlo.
Why, where would I get an exit visa to sell?
There are 2 missing letters of transit. Senor Ugarte had them earlier this evening, but we didn't find them on his body. Do you happen to know where they might be?
Louis, are you pro-Vichy or free French?
Serves me right for asking a stupid question. We'll say no more about it at the moment.
I was in the roulette room when Victor Laszlo arrived. I was busy at the moment, so I didn't bother going out until I heard Sam at the piano playing a piece I'd told him never to play. Sam! What are you doing playing that song? I thought I told you never to...
Hello, Rick.
And there she was, the woman I loved and hated more than any woman in the world, the woman I'd last seen in Paris and didn't ever want to see again.
It's been a long time, Rick. Let's see. The last time we met...
was the day the Germans marched into Paris. They wore gray and you wore blue, and I've hated both colors ever since. What are you doing here?
I came with Victor Laszlo.
Laszlo?
Yes. He went over to the bar to speak to someone. He's searching for a Senor Ugarte, who has something for us.
Yeah? Ugarte is dead.
Dead? Oh, no.
Tough, isn't it? See you around, Ilsa. I couldn't stand there looking down at her and seeing her at one of my tables just as though she belonged there. I couldn't stand there looking at her and go on hating her, and I wanted to hate her. And late that night, after everyone had gone, I sat in the cafe thinking how much I hated her. I sat in the cafe alone with Sam and his piano and a half-empty bottle of scotch.
Boss, you going to sit here in the cafe until morning? Boss.
What's that you say, Sam?
Are you going to bed, boss?
Not right now. I've still got half a bottle here.
Are you planning on going to bed in the near future?
No.
You ever going to bed?
No.
Well, I ain't sleep either.
Good. Have a drink.
No, not me. Boss, let's get out of here.
No, sir. I'm waiting for a lady. She's coming back. I know she's coming back.
Oh, let's go somewhere, boss. There's nothing but trouble here for you. Let's take the car and drive all night. We'll go fishing. We'll stay away until she's gone.
Shut up and go home.
No. I'm staying right here.
With all the gin joints and all the towns in the world, she has to walk into mine. Play the piano, Sam. You know what I want to hear.
No, I don't.
Play it. You played it for her, you can play it for me.
Okay, boss.
She always wore blue. That spring in Paris, I can remember driving day after day with her out into the country, eating dinners in the little country inn. Lord, she was beautiful. And I remember dancing with her night after night after night. I never liked dancing until I met her. And I remember once when we were dancing, I said, "Who are you really? What were you before? What did you do? What did you think?"
We said no questions, Rick. Remember?
Yeah. I was just wondering why I was so lucky, why I should find you waiting for me to come along, Ilsa.
Why there is no other man in my life?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
There was. He's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry, kid.
Kiss me, darling. That's all the answer we need for anything. Isn't it?
Darling. Oh, my darling. It was answer enough. There were a lot of questions I wish I'd asked her later, but I had time to think about other things. I remember the last day I saw her. The Germans were expected in Paris the next day.
Rick, you have to get out of Paris. The Germans must not catch you here.
We have to get out of here, kid. The train leaves from Marseille at 5. I'll pick you up at the hotel at 4:30. Is it a date, kid?
Well, I have so many things to do. Suppose I meet you at the station?
All right. The Gare de Lyon at 4:45.
Rick. Oh, Rick.
Oh, Ilsa, what's the matter?
It's such a crazy world. Anything can happen. Oh, Rick, kiss me. Kiss me as though it were the last time.
I did kiss her, as though it was the last time, and it was. Remember the note you brought me to the station, Sam? It said, "Richard, I cannot go with you or ever see you again. You must not ask why. Just believe I love you. Go, my darling, and God bless you." I learned it by heart. I learned it so I could say it backwards. Curse her rotten, two-faced little soul. I'm sorry she walked into the cafe tonight. I'm sorry I ever met her.
Boss. There she is.
Hello, Rick. Hello, Sam.
Get out, Sam.
I'm gone.
Have a drink, Ilsa.
No, not tonight. I came back because I had to talk to you.
Yeah? Why did you have to come to Casablanca? There were so many other places.
I wouldn't have come to the cafe if I had known you were here.
How long do we have, anyway, honey? How many of those happy days were there when there was no questions asked and faith was something all in one piece? You know what I remember most? I remember the wow finish. A guy standing on a train platform with a comical look on his face because his insides have been kicked out by a pair of high French heels.
Can I tell you a story?
Has it got a finish, honey? Has it got a twist?
I don't know the finish yet. It's about a girl who met a man.
Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of stories like that, kid. Just tell me one thing. Was it Laszlo you left me for, or were there others in between, or aren't you the kind that tells?
Yes, I'll tell you. It was Laszlo I left you for. You see, Victor Laszlo is my husband, and was, even when I knew you in Paris. Good night, Rick.
In just a moment, we'll bring you the second act of Casablanca, starring Victor Jory with Dooley Wilson and Mercedes McCambridge. But first...
Oh, what on earth can I give Aunt Mary for Christmas? Oh, I've racked my brains and can't think of a thing.
Give her a war bond, lady. Every war bond you buy for a Christmas gift is a gift for our fighting men and an investment for the recipient.
I've been trying to find an electric train for my Johnny, but there's not one to be had.
Give him a war bond, mister. You'll help finance victory and make the future safe for your boy.
Oh, dear, only 4 more Christmas shopping days, and I still have important gifts to buy. Oh, I'll bet the stores are cleaned out.
Buy war bonds, lady. No shortage there. They're easy to buy, easy to mail, and they show your dear ones that you love your country as you love them.
Our baby's only 3 months old. She's too young to enjoy a Christmas tree.
We'll tie a war bond in her name to the topmost branch. Use it to start an education fund for her. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, war bonds make ideal Christmas gifts. No battling through crowds to buy them. No disappointment at not finding what you want. No letdown because the quality isn't what it used to be. So buy war bonds and stamps up to the limit. This program is presented in cooperation with the Drug, Cosmetic, and Allied Industries by the Colgate-Palmolive Peat Company on behalf of the Treasury's War Bond Campaign.
Now, the second act of Casablanca, starring Victor Jory as Rick with Dooley Wilson as Sam. Rick continues his story.
The next day, Ilse and Victor Laszlo went every place in Casablanca trying to get 2 exit visas, but they didn't have a chance. Victor Laszlo was a marked man, and it was death or a concentration camp for anyone who helped him. They only had one slim hope, and that was to find the letters of transit the late Senor Ugarte had for them. Victor Laszlo came alone to the cafe that night to see me.
All I want to know is, do you have those letters?
Suppose I do, Laszlo.
You must know that it's very important that I get out of Casablanca. It's my privilege to be one of the leaders of a great movement. I must get to America to continue my work.
Well, I'm not interested in world events. I'm a saloon keeper.
You were interested in world events once. You fought with the Ethiopians against Italy. And you risked your neck with the loyalists in Spain.
And I was well paid on both occasions.
The other side would have paid you better.
That's a matter of opinion.
I'll give you 100,000 francs.
I wouldn't accept $1 million. I suggest you ask your wife why.
I beg your pardon?
I said, ask your wife. That night I went upstairs and Ilse was there waiting for me.
Richard, I had to see you.
So I'm Richard again, huh? We're back in Paris. I've recovered my lost identity.
Please.
That unexpected visit isn't by any chance connected with the letters of transit.
Richard, we loved each other once. If those days meant anything at all to you...
I wouldn't bring up Paris if I were you. It's poor salesmanship.
Richard, if you don't help us, Victor Laszlo will die in Casablanca.
What of it? I'm going to die in Casablanca. It's just the spot for it. Now, if you...
All right. I tried to reason with you. I tried everything. Now I want those letters.
Well, get the little lady with the gun.
Get those letters.
They're right here in my breast pocket.
Put them on the table.
No, you'll have to kill me to get them. If Laszlo and the cause means so much to you, you won't stop at anything. Go ahead, shoot. You'll be doing me a favor. Go on, shoot.
I can't. I tried to stay away. I thought that I would never see you again. The day that you left Paris, you don't know how much I went through. Oh, Richard, I loved you so much. I still love you so much. Oh, Richard.
My darling. My darling.
My darling, my marriage to Victor had always been a secret. Victor was constantly afraid his enemies might come after me if they knew we had been married. He was in a concentration camp for many months. And about a week before I met you, I received word that he was dead.
You should have told me all this, Ilse.
Yes, I know. But I thought it had nothing to do with you and me. That morning we were going to leave Paris together. I had a phone call from one of Victor's friends. He told me Victor was alive, that he had escaped from the concentration camp, and that he needed me. I couldn't tell you that, Rick. You wouldn't have left Paris, and they would have caught you.
No.
So I sent you that note, and that's all.
Well, it's still a story without an ending, isn't it?
No, Rick. Not anymore. I'm going to stay in Casablanca with you, if you want me.
You don't have any doubts about that now, do you?
No, I'm in your hands, Rick. You'll have to think for both of us now.
Am I a terrible person to say these things and feel this way?
I don't think so, Kay. You leave everything to me. I'll work things out.
You will get Victor out on the plane.
Or he'll leave on tonight's plane. You better run along now. I got to do some thinking. Well, I thought a long time, and I smoked a lot of cigarettes, and I did a lot of walking. And finally, I went to see the prefect of police, my old friend, Captain Renault. Louis, I've come to tell you I got those letters of transit, and I'm using them myself. I'm selling my place and leaving Casablanca on tonight's plane, and I'm taking a friend along with me. One you'll appreciate, Louis. Ilse Lund.
What about Laszlo?
Louis, if you could keep Laszlo here and also have a legal reason to arrest him, that would be quite a feather in your cap, wouldn't it?
Most certainly would.
All right. You come to my place this evening before the plane leaves, and I'll have Laszlo come there for the letters of transit, and that'll give you criminal grounds to make the arrest, huh?
Rick, I'll miss you. Apparently, you're the only one in Casablanca with less scruples than I.
Louis, you'll be there?
I'll be there. Victor Laszlo, you're under arrest on a charge of accessory to the murder of the courier from whom those letters were stolen.
Rick!
But I didn't murder
Hold
any...
on, Renault. Nobody's going to be arrested, not for a while yet.
Are you pointing that gun at me, Rick?
Yeah, I sure am. I wouldn't like to shoot you, Louis, but I will if you take one more step.
Under the circumstances, I would sit down.
At that desk, please. Now, call the airport and tell them there'll be 2 letters of transit for the Lisbon plane and to let them through. And remember, Louis, I've got this gun pointed right at your heart.
But that is my least vulnerable spot. Hello, airport? Captain Renault calling from Rick's Cafe. There will be 2 letters of
Captain Renault outsmarted me there. Instead of dialing the airport, he dialed the German consulate, and they were on their way to the airport almost as soon as we were. It was a foggy night at the airport, and Ilse and Victor Laszlo and Renault and I stood there listening to the plane warming up. Every one of us, I think, was praying. I kept my eyes on Renault and my gun in my pocket. Ilse kept her eyes on me and finally asked the question I've been waiting for.
Rick, you've given me a letter of transit, too. I don't need it, Rick.
Yes, you do. In 10 minutes, you'll be off on that plane, too.
Richard, what's happened to you? Last night
we said a good many things last night. I think your husband should know some of them.
Monsieur Rick, I do not ask you to explain.
Well, I'm going to anyway. Might make a difference to you later. You knew about Ilse and me in Paris when you were...
Yes.
And you also knew she came to see me last night?
Yes, I know that, too.
She came for the letters. That's true, isn't it, Ilse?
Yes, but
She tried everything to get them. When nothing else worked, she did her best to convince me she was still in love with me. For your sake, she pretended, and I let her pretend.
Richard.
She even offered to stay here in Casablanca with me if I'd get you out. That was a heroic gesture, but not very practical. The concentration camp was about all we had to look forward to after we'd helped you escape. Is that right, Louis?
I'm afraid Captain Strasser would insist on that. Chivalry is dead, along with many other things.
So that's how it stands. You better go get on your plane. It's just about ready to go. You see, the other passengers are getting on.
Rick.
Goodbye, Rick. And thank you.
So long. Good luck.
Goodbye, Rick.
Laszlo and Ilse went across the field to the plane, and Renault and I stood there measuring one another, and we heard the plane door slam, and then a car came screeching to a stop.
Renault.
Oh, it's you, Captain Strasser.
Renault, what was the meaning of that phone call?
Victor Laszlo's on that plane for Lisbon.
What? Why do you stand there? Why don't you stop them before they take off? Hey, stop.
Shut up, Strasser. Don't make a move unless you want to get shot. I'm a true neutral, Strasser. I was willing to shoot Captain Renault, and I'm willing to shoot you.
You fool. If you think I'm going to stand here and let that plane take off. Man,
shut up.
Man, stop that plane. Stop.
I always had a feeling you were a good shot, Rick. Right through Strasser's heart.
There she goes. Happy landing, sweetheart. Well, Renault, what happens now?
Well, I think you and I will go over to your place and have a drink.
Huh?
I'll call my office and tell them we stumbled over Captain Strasser's body in the fog. And to round up the usual suspects.
Okay, Louis. Thanks. So, by the way, you still owe me 5,000 francs on that bet of ours. Laszlo did escape.
I think we might call that debt paid, Rick.
Okay, Louis. We'll call that debt paid. Let's go back to the cafe. Here you are, Louis. The champagne's on me. Say, it's a great tune, isn't it? It sort of gets you inside.
You didn't fool that girl tonight, Rick. And you didn't fool me. You're a rank sentimentalist.
Yeah, I guess I am, Louis. Sing the song, Sam. Sing the song.
As time goes
A certain hero who would be embarrassed to hear his name broadcast was told he could come home on leave. The Treasury Department said they'd like him to sell war bonds. All he'd have to do would be to stand up in a booth and tell the public why they should buy bonds. I don't want to come home for that, he replied. If they don't know why, I can't tell them. Ladies and gentlemen, you can understand his feelings, I know. And of course, we all know why we should buy bonds. But what many of us don't realize is the terrific and mounting cost of winning the war. Yes, we're going to win, but we'll have to pay the price in blood and lives and money. We're asked merely for money. We're not asked to give. We're asked to lend. And for the lending, we receive a fine profit. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, how can you lose? Buy that bond, won't you, before another sun sets. Buy war bonds for yourself. Give the present with a future. Buy war bonds for Christmas. This program was presented in cooperation with the Drug, Cosmetic, and Allied Industries by the Colgate-Palmolive Peat Company on behalf of the Treasury's War Bond Campaign.
Tonight's Theater of Romance play was adapted from the memorable film Casablanca, produced by Warner Brothers, whose latest motion picture, Hollywood Canteen, is now playing at the Strand, New York, and will soon be seen throughout the country. Next week, we will bring you a special holiday program, The Messiah, based on the music of the oratorio and on incidents in the life of George Frederick Handel, the composer. Until next Tuesday, when Colgate Tooth Powder's Theater of Romance will bring you The Messiah, this is your host saying good night and wishing you love, happiness, and romance.
Victor Jory, who played Rick in tonight's play, appears through the courtesy of Vicks and is heard on CBS every Sunday afternoon as the star of Vicks Matinee Theater. Dooley Wilson recreated his original role of Sam. Mercedes McCambridge played Ilsa, and Santos Ortega played Renault. Casablanca was especially adapted for this program by Gene Holloway. The music was composed and conducted by Ben Ludlow, and the entire production was directed by Mark Slobe. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Now, listen to Orson Welles with Ray Collins in The Plot to Overthrow Christmas by Norman Corwin. This is My Best, starring Orson Welles with Ray Collins in a Christmas story chosen from among his best works, especially for this program, by America's master radio poet, Norman Corwin. America's best stars in the world's best stories. This is My Best, presented each week for your entertainment by
CRESTA, BLANCA, Presta Blanca, Presta Blanca. Sheltered from the ocean breezes, nestled among green rolling hills, nurtured by the friendly sunlight, cooled by softly falling rain. There the vines of Casablanca, bursting forth in their green glory, growing, bearing, heavy laden, bring the grapes to luscious fullness. So the vintner quickly harvests, presses from them gold and goodness, tends it gently, now to rest. Till at last the wine is ready, shimmering, fragrant, full of flavor, masterpiece of his perfection. And he hails it proudly, saying, "This is my best. This is Casablanca."
Good evening. This is Orson Welles. I'm very flattered indeed for the chance to be appearing so soon again on This Is My Best, very particularly in the radio best we have for you tonight. Best is a big word, but it isn't too big for Norman Corwin, who is certainly and beyond all argument the best writer the medium has produced. And best is a big word, but it isn't too big for Ray Collins either, who showed us the greater part of tonight's divertisement. If you know of a better actor in radio, please send me his name. I can use him in the Mercury. Here, then, is radio's best, a script by Corwin, and here's Corwin's very best for the holidays, a delicious and utterly delirious rigadoon of a thing entitled The Plot to Overthrow Christmas.
Genly's Casablanca wine presents The Plot to Overthrow Christmas by Norman Corwin, starring Orson Welles as Nero, with Ray Collins as Santa Claus on This Is My Best.
Did you hear about the plot to overthrow Christmas? Well, gather ye now from Maine to the Isthmus of Panama and listen to the story of the utter inglory of some gory goings-on in hell. Now, it happened in Hades, ladies and gentlemen. It happened down there that the fiends held a meeting. The fiends held a meeting for the purpose of defeating Christmas. With the aid of a fade on the radio, we'll take you there with a high and a Hades-ho to hear firsthand the brewing of the plot down in the deepest Stygian grot.
A grot is a poetical term for grotto. Whenever you hear my voce sotto or sotto voce, whichever you prefer, it's just I, taking pains to make quite sure that nobody makes a poetical allusion which might in any way create confusion. I return you now to the voice you were hearing before I had to do this interfering.
As I was saying, in this Stygian grot, the notables of Limbo hatched a plot. And what went on in the sulphurous hole we'll soon pick up by remote control. You mustn't mind if it sounds erratic. That's merely intra-terrestrial static. And don't be surprised if you're deafened by thunder just as we start on our journey under. And so below, via radio, to the regions where legions of the damned go.
Concerto. You should look to the improvement of your manners.
Sir, if you please, my apologies. I would not have intruded upon your recital if the matter were not so terribly vital.
The most important matter in the world is piddling when it comes to be compared with Nero's fiddling.
Now, what you say may be very true, but I have been sent here to summon you to a great mass meeting of the tortured souls down in the grot of the flaming coals.
Why are we meeting? Who's on the spot?
We're meeting in order to fabricate a plot. A plot against the festival that mortal men comfort in and gladden in again and again. You see, every year...
Never mind the facts. I don't want to hear how mortal man acts. The only information about which I care concerns the mass meeting and who'll be there.
His wickedness, Mephisto, will preside.
Naturally.
And several of the Borgias will be sitting at his side. And down in front by the sizzling podium will be many personalities known for their odium. Haman Caligula, Medusa and Legree.
That's all very nice, but what about me?
Oh, you'll be sitting in row A, center, between Ivan the Terrible, the Tormentor, and Circe.
Mercy, why, they're both deranged.
Do Do you wish me to see if your seat can be changed?
Yes, if you will, please. Taste comes first, even though a soul may be eternally cursed.
Right-o. See you at the meeting, then?
Yes. So now back to my fiddling again.
This is I, the sotto voce person. It should have been explained that Nero is rehearsing for nothing in particular. He's just that way. While Hell's Fires Burns, he likes to play. It makes him feel a little more at home. It's just an avocation he picked up at Rome.
The meeting will now come to order, please. I've called you here from over 60 seas of boiling pitch and blazing phosphorus to stop what constitutes a loss for us. And this is the reason. Though we've done well in carrying forward the work of hell, we've left a very big job unfinished. After all these years, there is undiminished goodwill on earth every late December because of Christmas. Now, please remember that as long as this continues to be, the race of man will not belong to me. I will listen now to any questions you may want to ask. And then, suggestions.
Mr. Chairman! Mr. Chairman!
Brother Heyman has the floor.
You say we've done well in our efforts to sell evil? I say we've done better. We have carried out the letter of your law. We've done what I think is a pretty good job. And I say, as a veteran demon...
Sit down there, Heyman. Enough of this folly.
Sit down yourself. You're off your trolley.
Sit down. For I am Ivan the Terrible.
You're telling us why you're unbearable.
Hello, demons! This is no way to act. Please proceed with a little more tact. I want more decorum in this forum. These personal remarks you make must cease. Now, Brother Ivan, will you speak your piece?
I merely want to say in a casual way that Heyman is a radical. He always gets fanatical. Why anybody'd think to hear him snort that the work of the devil should just stop short?
Mr. Chairman, Brother Ivan is a demagogue with a brain like a fly and the manners of a hog. He says that...
Enough! We will hear from others. Surely there must be among you brothers enough of venom and malevolence to crush a mortal man's benevolence. It's come to this. Are we going to let a little holiday like Christmas get the better of us all down here below? No. Well, then, sirs, very well. Let's go. Let's lay down our plans now to overthrow this Christmas business and all that guff of holly and mistletoe and stuff.
Mr. Chairman.
Brother Caligula may take the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I abhor as a former emperor anything which curbs our rule. Let us give some presents, too. Candy sticks and things to chew, fruits and nuts, and little cakes, poisonous as rattlesnakes.
Bravo!
Let our subtlest worker be bichloride of mercury. Let us wrap in tinsel bright little gifts of dynamite.
Bravo!
Work things so that men will fear when 12:25 draws near. Soon at this rate, if you please, men will hang from Christmas trees.
My dear Caligula, permit the chair to say that we think you've got something there. And now, with this fine start, let's hear some more. Yes, Brother Nero, do you want the floor?
With all due respect to Caligula's views, I think there's a better method we can use. I've heard just lately men are giving the razz to classical music by making it jazz. They're swinging Bach, and what is keener, they're doing the shag to Palestrina. As a connoisseur of music, of course, I love the works of Rimsky-Korsakov, but today I note with a bitter shrug they've made Scheherazade a jitterbug.
Much as we admire your clever rhyme, will you get to the point? We're wasting time.
I was just about to say, when interrupted, that Christmas can easily be corrupted if you take and swing all the Christmas carols. Why, think of the evil. Just barrels and barrels of sacrilege. Every time you play a pious song in a profane way, why, once you entice them to swing Noel, then victory belongs to us fiends. Well?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Legree, I'd like to say that it seems to me that you all is barking up a coolness tree. I think Mr. Nero has made a wrong guess. The way to go about it is to get in Congress and bribe a bunch of senators who know their oats and just make a purchase of a block of votes. They can all get together and pass a law where there ain't going to be no Christmas anymore.
I think Legree's suggestion is abuse.
It's very cute.
And quite astute.
By the eternal night. That's right.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Miss Borgia.
I say that we should all give pause to think about this Santa Claus. He is the man behind the scenes, the symbol of what Christmas means. If we could rub him out, my friend, our troubles would be at an end. Just think how it would tickle us to liquidate St. Nicholas. A girl like me could fascinate the guy and then assassinate.
Do you think that you could do it, pretty one? Are you sure you wouldn't be by pity one?
Sometimes you are an awful tease, my master Mephistopheles. Ain't I murdered several dozens, poisoned uncles, aunts, and cousins? Men of virtue all have cussed me. I'm sure that you can trust me.
Of that we haven't a particle of doubt, Miss Borgia. I'm sure we all have nothing but kind feelings towards her. But many times a woman spy, alas, adores her victims. Dames make poor ambassadors.
Do you imply that such defects are found inherent in my sex?
That I do.
Well, listen here, old Ironsides. You're heading for some cyanides. You've crossed a Borgia, and you know the consequences that follow.
Come, disciples. This is very bad. There's nothing to be gained by getting mad. Now, suppose we put the matter to a vote. All those in favor of the motion made by Fiend Caligula, which was to shade the glamour of the holiday by using selected poisons of our choosing, all those in favor will please signify by rising to their feet and saying aye. Aye! One vote in favor, Caligula's. And those opposed? No! The motion is defeated. Up we bring the plan of Brother Nero's, viz. To swing the hymns and pious music. All those for will please respond by raising up a paw. For! And those against? Against! Very well. Now, the project of Legree's. Who is there here who totally agrees? I do. Legree votes for himself. And those opposed? Opposed! And now all those who favor Borgia's cause. It being to eliminate Santa Claus. Aye, aye, aye! And those opposed? Seems the women have a way with them. At least they have carried the day with them. Motion's carried. And now we'll decide which one of us will take Nick for a ride. We'll all draw lots and thus settle the moot point of who'll be sent to execute.
You are listening to This Is My Best, and in just a few moments we'll tell you the rest. But ere we return to the story of strife, a word, if you please, of a season that's rife with greetings and goodies and food served so fine with the elegant touch of a good table wine. A good table wine, Casablanca, California Sauterne. A wine that is golden, delicious, and light. A wine that will earn you praises galore. A distinctive dry wine that will add extra zest to your Christmas Day dinner made up of the best. The name, once again, Casablanca Sauterne. And now back to the story. So we may all learn from our old friend Sotto Voce, visiting down where it's eternal noche.
This is your old friend Sotto Voce visiting down where it's eternal noche. Noche is Spanish for night, you know, merely a reference just to show that English isn't all I have to go by. Oh, well, I guess I've missed my calling. I should have been a lobbyist. You see, I'm stalling to give them time to finish the voting. Let's see, the weather. Now I'm quoting the Daily Hellion. Continued heat both overhead and under feet. Light showers of brimstone toward the evening hours. Well, that's what it says here. I'm not fibbing. How am I doing with my ad-libbing? Well, this is a thing the Gabbard have fun with. Say the drawing should soon be done with. We expect the results at any moment now, as soon as
Lots have been drawn, and I'm glad to say the honor has fallen Nero's way. Now, Nero, you are charged with a great task. It's the evilest deed that we could ask a fiend to do. We'll be proud of you.
Now, just one moment. How do I get there? What do I wear? Is it dry or wet there? Is it fact or fancy or just word of mouth that he lives at the pole? Is it north or south? What shall I use when it comes to showdown? A gun or a dagger? Give me the lowdown.
Now, Nero, you needn't sound so tragic. You'll get to Earth by the blackest magic. To create an express elevator is simple for an expert spell creator. With a lot of pyrotechnic dazzle, we'll let you off at a hill in Basel, Switzerland. From there, you will make your way to the Arctic Circle, then break your way through ice with a blowtorch. After a while, you're bound to reach Santa's domicile. And once you get there, my dear Nero, all of our work will have gone for zero if you don't succeed in your assignment.
I know. But first we don't succeed, we can try and try again, but there's no need because nothing will come of it. Meaning no offense, do you mind if I take my departure hence?
That, my friends, was a big brass gong. It's used in the story right along to indicate that we're about to travel to points where the plot will further unravel. And now, if Ambassador Nero elects, we'll have another spot of sound effects.
Stranger, is this Basel, Switzerland? Or is it already Dunner and Blitzerland?
Dunner and Blitzerland's 5,000 miles away.
Thank you, mister, and good day. Tell me, stranger, because I've lost stock, where am I now?
In Vladivostok.
Listen, stranger, after all these centuries of blistering heat, now I have to suffer from freezing feet. I'm wincing with pain from this pesky toe.
Now speak English, Eskimo.
I declare by my frenetic soul I must be over the magnetic pole. My watch has stopped. Can that be right? I wonder. Light. A light! In a moment now you'll hear me knock on Santa's door. And he'll unlock it. Never more to lock again.
Coming!
So is doom.
How do you do, sir?
Very well indeed, and you, sir?
Splendidly. Won't you come right in? Take your coat off. I see your chin is frozen. Also your hands and knees. Sit down while I get you some antifreeze.
Don't bother, sir. I will not be long. I'm about to perpetrate a frightful wrong. In short, I'm going to do away with...
Take it easy. Do not play with that gun. I know all about you.
Oh, really?
Haven't I had my agent scout you for weeks? You've come all this way to abolish Christmas. Now, let me say...
Listen, Santa, I'm no callow stripling. I've read Ernest Hemingway and Kipling. And also the shooting of Dan McGrew and plenty of detective stories, too. And just to show you what a broad guy I am, I've also read the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Do you think that a fellow with his reading so graded could have learned so little as to be dissuaded from a main objective? Why, don't make me giggle.
I'd feel a lot better if you wouldn't wiggle that gun so. Much as I'm impressed with your education, I honestly believe that a figure of your station should have given more thought to the ways of man and less devotion to the cult of Pan.
I came to dispatch a duty, so don't hand me any of this tutti-frutti. If you've any last words you want to say, then spell them. I haven't got all day.
Now, what's the rush? Unless I've counted wrong, the polar day has always been 6 months long.
Well, after I've disposed of you, I've got to hurry right back to hell, or they'll begin to worry.
Not about you, but about your career in homicide. You think that the mere loss of you would make them hysterical? Their only interest is numerical.
Think so?
Mephisto wants to rule just as much of humanity as possible for reasons of personal vanity.
By the sticks, you're right. To think that he'd dare. Are there any ladies here? Will you permit me to swear?
My answer to that is an emphatic no. There are several lady dolls in the toy room below.
Oh, Cassius. Oh, Claudius. Oh, Naphthaline. What a fool I've been. What a fool I've been. Wait, I think I see what you're after. You're as clever as a big-time Roman grafter. Do you think I could be that meanly deceptive to Satan? Why, Santa, I'm keenly perceptive. I can see right through all your clever ruses. Nero can be plenty foxy when he chooses. I'll have you know that I'm partly a dreamer, partly a wit, and partly a schemer. I'm part philosophical and also part mystic.
I suppose you fancy that you're highly artistic.
Fancy? Why, I have such a sense of beauty.
Don't hand me a helping of tutti frutti. Any creature who really had beauty in his soul would appreciate Christmas. he would know that the whole idea of the holiday was one of such power that all the fiends below might gnash their fangs and glower, yet never in a million years could do it harm. Because it has a glory, a greatness, a charm that you would know nothing about.
Yes, that's so.
The spirit that it venerates, the good cheer that it generates, are things far, far beyond you. For all your wealth, no man on earth could sell ye these.
Am I so cursed as that? Will you tell me, please, what beauties there may be that I have never seen?
Have you ever seen a Christmas tree, tall and green, smelling of woodlands covered with a sheen of silverness, its branches bending low, with the fruits of human kindness instead of snow?
No.
Have you ever closely witnessed what takes place any Christmas morning on a young child's face? Or perceived any beauties purer than the joys distilled in the hearts of little girls and boys? Have you ever watched a fire in a fireplace on a Christmas Eve? Or listened to grace at table heavy with fruits and cakes and all the wonders that a kitchen makes? Fowls and pastries, wines and meats and nuts and raisins and candied sweets? Have you ever seen mistletoe hanging from the ceiling? In frosty air, heard a far bell pealing? Have you ever seen the beauty of a sprig of holly? Or felt for a moment how it feels to be jolly?
Golly.
Have you ever known how exceedingly pleasant it is to unwrap a Christmas present? Did you ever know how much cheer it lends to be wished a Merry Christmas by all your friends? Did you ever experience the fun of giving? Do you know at all of the joys of living?
I guess I don't. For all of me, I never knew such things could be. Just think how long in ignorance I've slept.
It must have been the company you kept.
I was a wicked tyrant once, you know.
Ah, yes, but that was centuries ago. You really had no way of knowing.
Perhaps. I guess that I'll be going. I really should be getting on my way.
But do you have to? Don't you want to stay?
Well, you see, I'm just a bit...
Embarrassed?
Well, yes, sir.
Now, don't look so harassed. I know just why you came and who it was that sent you. But that's all done with. I take it you repent you of all your past mistakes.
With many pains and aches of conscience.
Then you are welcome here. Please take your hat off. Your coat. Your muffler also. Take your staff off. What happened to the other one? No matter. You're pretty thin. You'll presently be fatter. I serve good food here. I'll get you a platter of steak and mushrooms. Medium or rare. I'll bet that you're as hungry as a bear.
A while ago you asked me if I understood good cheer. I do so now, St. Nicholas. I see it standing here. I want to ask you something, sir. Now, please don't give me up. Is there any sort of work to do where I can be of help?
Indeed there is, indeed there is. And I am glad you asked me. I have so many toys to make this year, the job's got past me. But first you sit and eat this bowl. I've got a little trifle I'd like for you to see. So will you sit right here and stifle your curiosity? I'll get it for you right away.
Well, who'd ever think it? Will wonders never cease? At last, after all these centuries... I'm so happy I could buzz.
Well, here it is, Nero, my boy. By way of Christmas presents, I offer you this little gift.
Oh, but Santa, for what reason?
A very good one, sir, to wit. Compliments of the season. Well, go ahead and open it. Why stand there so reflective?
I'm just collecting thoughts, St. Nicholas. My thoughts I'm just collecting. Just think how far a tiny bit of fellowship will carry us. Oh, well. I say, what's this? What's this? It's a Stradivarius. Why, thank you. Thanks a million times. I don't know what to say to you. I'll tell you what I'll do, St. Nick. I'll start right in and play for you. I'll play all night and day for you.
Fine. Here's some music. I'm sure you'll play it well. It's a little piece entitled Noel, Noel.
This is I. Remember me, your Sotto Voce friend? I've just come back to tell you that the story's at an end.
We join the audience here in Hollywood in applauding Orson Welles and Ray Collins in Norman Corwin's The Plot to Overthrow Christmas, tonight's story on This Is My Best, presented by Shenley's Casablanca wine.
Mr. Wells will be back in a moment to tell you about next week. And now, once more, here is John McIntyre, your Casablanca host.
Perhaps one of the most interesting accounts of Christmas in early colonial days is of a dinner given by a prominent Virginia family. The festive Christmas table abounded with an elegant variety of turkeys, roast beef, veal, ducks, hams, puddings, jellies, oranges, apples, nuts, figs, and a variety of fine wines and punches. Today in America, our meals are less elaborate. However, it's still in the best American tradition to serve a fine wine like Casablanca with the Christmas dinner. It will lend a charming, a friendly touch to your festive Christmas table. Choose the Casablanca California wine your guests like best and serve it well chilled. It may be a white table wine like Chablis or Riesling, or it may be a red table wine like Burgundy or Claret. No matter what type of wine you choose, as long as the words Casablanca are on the bottle, you can rest assured you are serving the crest of quality in wine since 1889.
And now, Orson Welles.
Thank you. Thank you, and I'm speaking also for two of the finest performers who ever stood before a microphone, Ray Collins, who was Santa Claus tonight, and John Brown, who was the devil. And now about next week's offering. On This Is My Best, I'm looking forward to it. It's a pleasure to tell you about it now. Two great American humorists are involved, the writer and artist James Thurber, from whose antic gallery of sorrowful dogs, wistful little men, and monstrous women has been chosen a strange and I think entirely perfect study, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The other great humorist involved is a writer, too, and a very fine one, but you know him just as well and love him as an actor. He will play Walter Mitty, and nobody anywhere ever could play it better than Robert Benchley. I know we'll all be listening, and till then, it's my privilege to remain, as always, obediently yours.
Casablanca's new program is prepared in collaboration with Whit Burnett, editor of the book, This Is My Best. The music is composed and conducted by Bernard Katz. Ray Collins will soon be seen in Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's The Hidden Eye. Don't forget next week, when your star on This Is My Best will be Robert Benchley in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And remember, whenever you dine, dine with wine, and make it the best wines.
Cresta Blanca. Cresta Blanca. Cresta Blanca.
This Is My Best, the presentation of the Casablanca Wine Company of Livermore, California, came to you from Columbia's Playhouse in Hollywood. Owen James speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
WBNS Columbus.
Seconds? Oh, that lot. Ooh.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber, Mcgee, and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry present Fibber, Mcgee, and Molly, written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The holiday season is a time when you want your home as bright and cheerful as you can make it. It's a time that proves, as much as any other, the value of protective wax housekeeping. If your floors, furniture, and woodwork have been waxed regularly with Johnson's Wax, then it's a very easy matter to put on the finishing touches and have that richly polished kind of home that everyone admires. There are many accessories from one end of the house to the other that you can protect and beautify with Johnson's Wax, either paste, liquid, or cream. Your windowsills, for example, picture frames, ornaments, lampshades, Venetian blinds, refrigerator. Well, many of you know the list as well as I. When you wax all these surfaces, you protect them because the wax itself takes the wear and the surface underneath is safe. When you go over your house tomorrow, try out several of these extra uses for Johnson's Wax. the most curious things in the world are the gyroscope, the pyramids, and the Squire of 79 Wistful Vista. And if you don't think he's curious, get a load of him sneaking a peek into the hall closet as we join Fibber, Mcgee, and Molly.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look at all these Christmas presents. From Molly to Fibber with love. To Fibber from Molly with best wishes. To the best husband a woman ever had. Wonder who that's for. I thought I was the only husband she ever... Oh, well. Uh-oh. An envelope. Do not open before Christmas. Looks like it might be a war bond. Flap isn't sealed very tight either. If somebody's thumb ever got caught in there, it'd flip open like it. Oh, my goodness, it did it. Maybe she didn't even mean to seal it. And if it ain't sealed, I suppose it's okay to read it. My dear husband, get out of this hall closet and stop snooping. I like that. To think she'd think that I'd think of stooping to snoop when she knows.
McGee, where are you?
Oh, caught in the act. I better put this stuff back in here fast. This must be the new belt I've been hunting. I've been hinting about. I hope this is a fountain pen. If this isn't a sweater, I'll...
McGee, where are you? What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the door closed on the hall closet, Molly. It's so full of stuff, it's sprung open. Aha! I got it. That was quick thinking, McGee, old man. If she ever caught you doing that stuff... Read it. I got to straighten out that closet right after Christmas.
McGee, what goes on here? I told you to stay away from that hall closet. You're much too snoopy.
Why, Molly, do you mean to stand there in one of the best-looking house dresses I ever saw and accuse your own husband by marriage of snooping?
Dearie, you can pump up more phony indignation than Donald Duck. Now get all that stuff put back in the closet. No, you better let me do it.
Something in there you don't want me to see, baby?
Well, if there was and I didn't, then you already had. What's the difference?
I didn't unwrap a thing. I never even shook anything. Only thing that even aroused my curiosity is that big white package with the blue ribbon on it.
I don't remember any big white package with any blue ribbon. McGee, stop peering over my shoulder. Go read the paper.
Okay, but gee whiz.
Oh, hello, Alice.
Hello, Mrs. McGee. Hiya, Mr. McGee.
Hi, Alice. Hey, what'd you do to your hair?
Well, she's just wearing it differently, McGee. Himself here's getting very observant with Christmas coming on, Alice. Ordinarily, you could wear your scalp full of neon lights and he'd never notice it.
You like my hair with the buns over the ears, Mr. McGee?
Yes, I do, kid. I like the buns over the ears much better than that old sweet roll on top. Or that apple strudel you used to have falling down in back.
My hairdresser says they're wearing it this way in Paris now.
It's a nice hairdo, Alice. What do they call it?
Hair Hitler. Because it's more trouble than it's worth.
Yes, I think so, too. You got your Christmas counterpricing all done now?
Creepers, I thought I had, Mr. McGee, but now I'm as confused as a kangaroo at a pickpocket's convention.
Why, dear?
Well, I had a terrific billfold for Harold, but I had to change the tag to Ronnie because I'm giving Ronnie's cufflinks to Rick to take the place of Rick's cigarette lighter because I quick had to give the lighter to Jimmy when he showed up here last night with a simply super pair of earrings for me.
That is a little complicated, isn't it?
That's like the year when McGee gave me nothing but napkins and handkerchiefs, pillowcases, and tablecloths for Christmas. He took the laundry list downtown instead of the shopping list.
Well, gee whiz.
Alice, we're not doing very much for Christmas this year. The Treasury Department had beat Santa Claus down the chimney.
Well, I told all the boys not to spend their money foolishly on things for me this year. I told them all to take whatever money they intended to spend on me and put it in war bonds.
Good for you, Alice. Use the boys' dough to back up the doughboys.
Certainly. Anyway, I just as soon they gave me war bonds as anything else. Well, I've got to get back to the post office. Goodbye.
There's a girl who has her heart in the right place. on her sleeve.
I don't know. She's a lot like I was when I was a girl, McGee. Except that she has 20 boyfriends and I just had you.
Yeah, well, that wasn't because you were unpopular, Snooky. That was because there was an ugly rumor around Peoria that McGee had put a bear trap in Molly Driscoll's porch swing.
That was more than a rumor, sweetheart. For 15 years after that, my father never sat down without first slapping the chair with his cane. Now, listen, go away while I get this stuff back in the closet.
How about that white package with the blue ribbon on it?
McGee, I swear I know absolutely nothing about that.
You wouldn't kid me, would you? After all, when mysterious packages are hid away in the closet...
Heavenly days, what was that?
My belt. It busted. Remember how I've been telling you my belt was on its last legs?
Well, it's a funny place to wear a belt. But I do remember your mentioning it several times.
Looked awful, too. Supposed to have been genuine calf, but I'll bet a cookie its mother was a paper mill. Doggone it, my last belt, too. Oh, well, I can wear a necktie around my waist so I can get downtown and buy a new one.
All right, dearie, all right. You win. Here, open this package.
Why, this is a Christmas package. Gee, I shouldn't open this till Christmas.
Open it.
Well, okay. Well, what do you know? A new belt. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle if this isn't a coincidence.
Remember me to your nephew.
Gee. And with my initials on the buckle. Oh, this is a beauty, Molly. Thanks ever so much.
Don't mention it, and Merry Christmas. First installment.
My gosh, this is really unexpected.
Well, it shouldn't be. The way you've been talking about a new belt the past few weeks, you should have taken out a hinting license.
Here, throw this old one away, will you?
All right, I'll put it in. Why, this is strange.
Huh?
Looks like it had been cut halfway through.
Oh, well, I've had a very sharp appetite lately, and my waist...
Come in.
Hello, Molly. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Dr. Gamble.
Hi, you big front man for the Stork Club. Why call me Gary? You finally agree with me that I look like Cooper?
No, that's just my abbreviation for garrulous.
Why, Doctor, McGee is not garrulous.
I should say not. I haven't been out with a girl since I married Molly.
Yes, I know. You two are the living exhibit A for the scientific theory of the attraction of opposites. Molly is so good-looking and sweet and quiet.
And I'm?
Yes, indeed, in spades. Say, what's all this Christmas stuff around here? You been unwrapping a present, McGee?
Well, he just broke his belt, Doctor. And as long as I was giving him one for Christmas, I thought he might as well have it now.
Beauty, ain't it, Doc? Real pigskin.
I shall not descend to any of the obvious retorts, my boy. It is a very handsome hunk of haberdashery. But aren't you a little ashamed of accepting your gifts now? According to my calendar, it's several days until Christmas.
Well, I was just trying to keep up his spirits and his pants for the next week, Doctor.
What do you use for a calendar, Doc? Cut a notch in a patient for each day of the week?
No, I just glance in the mirror. If I seem to have aged 10 years, I know another day has crept by.
You know, you ought to go away for a good long rest, Doctor. Someplace where you can't get near a telephone, like any drugstore.
Don't think I wouldn't love it, my dear, but I've got to stick around for the Christmas rush.
What Christmas rush? You running a black market in pink pills?
No, but us Cowtown pasteurs expect certain seasonal phenomena about this time of year. Like kids swallowing Christmas tree ornaments. Selfish little animals that they are, and ornaments so hard to get. And then, too, digital callosity is almost an annual epidemic.
Heavenly days, what on earth is digital callosity?
Calluses on the fingers. From people rubbing them over greeting cards to see if they're really engraved.
Well, it's nice to have you drop in, Doctor. Particularly without McGee starting an argument with you.
No, just a darn minute. Whom starts all the arguing with whom? Doc always starts them, not me.
Oh, now, don't give us that, little Sir Decibel. You're as bad-tempered as a dime store jackknife, and you know it.
I don't know any such a dirty thing. Just because you always start snarling at me with your big fat teeth, don't mean I got a bad temper.
Why, you peripatetic little biological aberration. You have the neurological reactions of a schizophrenic troglodyte.
King's X.
What do you mean, King's X?
Doc don't play fair. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I'll call it off till I look up some one-syllable words, Mcgee. Anyway, I got to get back to my office. It's probably full of expectant fathers.
Expectant fathers?
Yes, they expect me to tell them beforehand whether to have the nursery decorated in pink or blue.
What do you tell them, Doc?
I give them an evasive answer. I tell them to go fry a pig. Well, Merry Christmas, folks.
Thank you, Doctor. Same to you.
And a Happy New Year, Doc.
Isn't he a sweet old character?
Yeah, great guy. It was a great loss to medicine when he started studying it. What a patient he'd have been.
Say, I wonder if it was he who sent us the big white package with the blue ribbon on it.
Are you kidding? You don't have to play coy with me, Tootsie. I wasn't born yesterday.
Well, you might as well have been. You're so changeable. Now, Mcgee, if you'll go away someplace while I straighten up this closet.
I'll run over to Kramer's drugstore. I got to buy a new fountain pen.
Oh, no, Mcgee. Don't do that.
Huh? Why not?
Well, I was... Well, why do you need a new fountain pen just this minute? Can't you use your old one?
My old one? I only got one.
Well, I meant... Well, what's the matter with it?
Well, the point is pigeon-toed. Writes 2 lines instead of 1.
But maybe you'll get...
When I registered with it at a hotel last summer, the clerk looks at my signature and says, "You gentlemen want twin beds?" You go ahead and fix the closet, kiddo. I'll run over to Kramer's and get a
Oh,
fountain.
dear. You win again, Mcgee. Here. Open this package.
What do you mean?
Go ahead, open it.
Well, okay. Well, I'll be a new fountain pen. Gee, thanks, kid. Oh, this is wonderful.
Merry Christmas. Second installment.
Boy, this is a wonderful pen. Just the kind I wanted, too. And just when I needed it. Why, you could knock me over with a feather, Molly. I never dreamed you... Hey, what are you looking for?
A feather.
Billy Mills from the orchestra and Jingle Bell.
Don't bother me, Mcgee. I've almost got this closet straightened up again.
How about that big white package with the blue ribbon on it? Does it gurgle or rattle or squeak or anything?
Well, I haven't touched it. Somebody around here's got to keep his curiosity under control. And as long as there's only 2 of us, it looks like I'm elected.
Hey, this is a wonderful pen you gave me, Molly.
You like it, dearie?
It's marvelous. Only one thing wrong with it that I can see.
My goodness, what's that?
I just worked a crossword puzzle with it, and it don't spell very good.
That isn't a pen, that's the ink.
Oh. Well, I'm really quite gruntled with it.
You mean disgruntled?
No, I'm very happy. It's the finest pen I... Hello, friend.
Hello there, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, waxy old man. How do you like the new belt Molly gave me for Christmas?
Say, it's beautiful. But aren't you folks a little previous with your Christmas presents?
Well, he was getting so snoopy, Mr. Wilcox, I just had to give him a belt one way or another. So I took the easy way.
Look, she gave me a fountain pen, too. Ain't that a darb? Writes 10,000 words without filling. Don't know how many he'll write when I fill it. Don't you get it, kids? I says it right.
Ain't funny, McGee.
I thought it had a kind of a funny taint. You like the pen, Junior?
It's very handsome, pal. But better get your name engraved on it. Be ashamed to lose a nice pen like that.
Well, I couldn't get it engraved till after Christmas, Mr. Wilcox. I took it to 7 different jewelers, too.
Gee, did you really, Molly?
Yes, and I got quite an inferiority complex. Leaning over $80,000 worth of diamond necklaces, trying to get a $3 job of engraving done.
Well, gee, you should have taken it to my cousin, Big Bill Wilcox, on Oak Street, Molly. One of the finest engravers in the country.
I thought all the really great engravers were working for the government, Waxy.
Oh, he used to.
In Washington?
No, Leavenworth. That's why they call him Big Bill. He got caught making 20s out of 10s.
They put him to work making little ones out of big ones for making big ones out of little ones, eh?
Yeah, he's a terrific engraver, though. He's a... Well, here, wait a minute. Here, take a look at this common, ordinary little pin.
Well, what about it?
Well, look at the head of it.
Kind of scratched up, isn't it, Junior?
Ha, ha, ha. Look at it through this magnifying glass, which I just happen to have with me.
Uh-oh.
Well, heavenly days. Isn't that marvelous?
Let me look at it. Well, I'm a son of a gun. What does it say, Junior? Can't quite read it without my glasses.
It says you don't have to be sharp as a pin to know that Johnson's self-polishing glow coat is the finest beautifier and protector of linoleum.
Imagine writing all that on the head of a pin.
Oh, there's more than that. It says if you're stuck with faded, worn linoleum, bring it back to life and beauty with Johnson's glow coat, the polish that shines as it dries.
My gosh, he is quite an engraver, isn't he, Waxy?
Well, you know, the funny part of it is, it only took him 20 minutes or less to do it.
Oh, that's too much.
Same length of time it takes for a glow coat to dry to a mirror-like finish on your linoleum. Now, wasn't that a coincidence?
Amazing. Here, let me put the pin back in your lapel, Mr. Wilcox. I'm afraid it might get lost.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's your story, Junior, and you got stuck with it.
Well, here, let me take your fountain pen, pal. I'll have Big Bill engrave it for you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox.
Thanks, Junior.
Don't mention it. I'll have it back Friday.
Okay.
Isn't he a sweet old... Oh, no, that's Dr. Gamble.
Look, Molly, no kidding. That big white package with the blue ribbon on it. Is that for me?
I tell you, I don't know a thing about it, McGee.
Cross your heart?
Cross my heart.
Well, my gosh, somebody must have... Hey, maybe Beulah put it there. Oh, Beulah. Hey, Beulah.
You call me Miss McGee?
Why should I? You never call me Beulah.
Mr. McGee wanted to know about this big white package with a blue ribbon on it, Beulah.
Did you put it in the closet here, Beulah?
No, sir. That package is a complete stranger to me.
Well, that's strange. Oh, well, we'll find out when we open it at Christmas time. Have you got all your shopping done, Beulah?
Yes, ma'am, practically. All I got left to get stuff for is Papa and Ira.
Ira? Who's Ira?
He's my one and only, sir. At least he's one of the few and far between. Ira, he's the FBI man.
Oh, heavenly days. Federal Bureau of Investigation?
No, ma'am. Friendly but ignorant.
What does he do, Beulah?
He's the insurance man, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he specializes in life insurance with double indemnity.
Indemnity?
Yes, only he may have to give it up on account of a greeting card he got this morning.
On account of a greeting card?
Yeah, sir. You say, from the President of the United States, greetings.
What's his present status, Beulah?
5'9.5" in his socks, Sam.
No. No, how's he classified now?
I classify him as ready and willing, sir. So he's suffering with flat feet and astigmatism.
Tism?
Oh, yes, tis, ma'am. He's so short-sighted he don't know his best friend to cross a taffy pull.
Well, they don't pull taffy in the Army anyway, Beulah. He'll be okay if he can see well enough to pull a sergeant's leg.
That's what I mean. Love that man.
Hey, Molly, I think we ought to open up that package. I think it must have been delivered by mistake.
Well, it might have been at that, McGee. There's no tag on it or anything.
You think we ought to?
Well, I don't know.
Yes, I think we ought to. One side, baby. I'll soon solve this mystery.
Well, if you really... Heavenly days, it's a beautiful negligee.
A Oh, my gosh.
What's the matter?
Oh, gee whiz. Oh, my. That was my present for you, baby. I bought it a month ago and forgot all about it. If I ain't the dumbest bunny...
Oh, now,
ever...
McGee, I think it's lovely and just what I wanted. It's the most...
Oh, now, Come in.
Hi, mister. We're all ready.
Ready? Who's all ready for what?
Kenny and Johnny and Buddy and Reddy and me.
Huh?
We're all ready to sing. Come on in, kids.
Well, folks, 3 years ago, Ken Darby of our King's Men wrote for our Christmas show an original musical setting for the poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Everyone seemed to like it so well that we've been asked to do it every Christmas since. And we're glad to do it again tonight.
Okay, Mr. McGee. Go on. Sit down now.
Okay.
You and Miss McGee sit in a circle. You sit at the piano, Kenny. Ready, everybody? A 1 and a 2 and a 3. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hope that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their wee little beds, while visions of sugar plums dance in their wee little heads. Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's Down on the lawn there arose such a clatter. I ran from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, threw open the sash. Then, what to my wondering, I should appear but a miniature sleigh and a tiny reindeer with a little old driver so lively and quick that I knew right away that it must be St. Nick. All bundled in fur from his head to his foot, old Santa was covered with ashes and soot. I drew in my head and was turning around when down the chimney he came with a pound.
His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses. His nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow. The beard on his chin was as white as the snow.
The stump of a little old pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke went around and around and around his head like a wreath. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. Let a laugh, let a laugh, let a laugh when I saw him in spite of myself. He had a broad face, and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He gave me a wink of his eye and a twist of his head, a chuckle and a smile. I knew all the while I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings.
Oh, boy.
Then turned with a jerk. Then laying a
finger aside of his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rode. He sprang to his sleigh, to his feet came a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, and he cried, Merry Christmas to all, and to all, good night after Christmas and all through the house, not a creature is stirring, not even a mouse. The presents are shattered and broken, I fear, and St. Nicholas won't come again for a year. The children are nestled all warm in their wee little beds, while memories of sugar plums dance in their wee little heads. Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap are settled at last for a long
Ladies and gentlemen, 2,000 years ago, a star shone over Bethlehem to light the way to peace and goodwill on earth. Tonight, that star is reflected in the windows of millions of your homes.
So our Christmas wish to all of you is that the men and women who have gone out to fulfill the promise of that symbol may soon return. Mission accomplished.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Exclaim as he drove out of sight. Merry Christmas to all and to all.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Seconds? Oh, we got lots. Ooh.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber, McGee, and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax for Home and Industry present Fibber, McGee, and Molly, written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The holiday season is a time when you want your home as bright and cheerful as you can make it. It's a time that proves, as much as any other, the value of protective wax housekeeping. If your floors, furniture, and woodwork have been waxed regularly with Johnson's Wax, then it's a very easy matter to put on the finishing touches and have that richly polished kind of home that everyone admires. There are many accessories from one end of the house to the other that you can protect and beautify with Johnson's Wax, either paste, liquid, or cream. Your windowsills, for example, picture frames, ornaments, lampshades, Venetian blinds, refrigerator. Well, many of you know the list as well as I. When you wax all these surfaces, you protect them because the wax itself takes the wear and the surface underneath is safe. When you go over your house tomorrow, try out several of these extra uses for Johnson's Wax. 3 of the most curious things in the world are the gyroscope, the pyramids, and the Squire of 79 Wistful Vista. And if you don't think he's curious, get a load of him sneaking a peek into the hall closet as we join Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look at all these Christmas presents. From Molly to Fibber, with love. To Fibber from Molly with best wishes. To the best husband a woman ever had. Wonder who that's for. I thought I was the only husband she ever... Oh, well. Uh-oh. An envelope. Do not open before Christmas. Looks like it might be a war bond. Flap isn't sealed very tight either. If somebody's thumb ever got caught in there, it'd flip open like a... Oh, my goodness, it did it. Maybe she didn't even mean to seal it. And if it ain't sealed, I suppose it's okay to read it. My dear husband, get out of this hall closet and stop snooping. I like that. To think she'd think that I'd think of stooping to snoop when she knows.
McGee, where are you?
Oh, caught in the act. I better put this stuff back in here fast. This must be the new belt I've been hinting about. I hope this is a fountain pen. If this isn't a sweater, I'll...
McGee, where are you? What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the door closed on the hall closet, Molly. It's so full of stuff, it's sprung open. Aha! I got it. That was quick thinking, McGee, old man. If she ever caught you doing that stuff... I got to straighten out that closet right after Christmas.
What goes on here? I told you to stay away from that hall closet. You're much too snoopy.
Why, Molly, do you mean to stand there in one of the best-looking house dresses I ever saw and accuse your own husband by marriage of snooping?
Dearie, you can pump up more phony indignation than Donald Duck. Now get all that stuff put back in the closet. No, you better let me do it.
Something in there you don't want me to see, baby?
Well, if there was and I didn't, then you already had. What's the difference?
I didn't unwrap a thing. I never even shook anything. Only thing that even aroused my curiosity is that big white package with the blue ribbon on it.
I don't remember any big white package with any blue ribbon. McGee, stop peering over my shoulder. Go read the paper.
Okay, but gee whiz.
Oh, hello, Alice.
Hello, Mrs. McGee. Hiya, Mr. McGee.
Hi, Alice. Hey, what'd you do to your hair?
Well, she's just wearing it differently, McGee. Himself here's getting very observant with Christmas coming on, Alice. Ordinarily, you could wear your scalp full of neon lights and he'd never notice it.
You like my hair with the buns over the ears, Mr. McGee?
Yes, I do, kid. I like the buns over the ears much better than that old sweet roll on top. Or that apple strudel you used to have falling down in back.
My hairdresser says they're wearing it this way in Paris now.
It's a nice hairdo, Alice. What do they call it?
Hair Hitler. Because it's more trouble than it's worth.
Yes, I think so, too. You got your Christmas counterpricing all done now?
Creepers, I thought I had, Mr. McGee, but now I'm as confused as a kangaroo at a pickpocket's convention.
Why, dear?
Well, I had a terrific billfold for Harold, but I had to change the tag to Ronnie because I'm giving Ronnie's cufflinks to Rick to take the place of Rick's cigarette lighter because I quick had to give the lighter to Jimmy when he showed up here last night with a simply super pair of earrings for me.
That is a little complicated, isn't it?
That's like the year when McGee gave me nothing but napkins and handkerchiefs, pillowcases, and tablecloths for Christmas. He took the laundry list downtown instead of the shopping list.
Well, gee whiz.
Alice, we're not doing very much for Christmas this year. The Treasury Department had beat Santa Claus down the chimney.
Well, I told all the boys not to spend their money foolishly on things for me this year. I told them all to take whatever money they intended to spend on me and put it in war bonds.
Good for you, Alice. Use the boys' dough to back up the doughboys.
Certainly. Anyway, I just as soon they gave me war bonds as anything else. Well, I've got to get back to the post office. Goodbye.
There's a girl who has her heart in the right place. On her sleeve.
I don't know. She's a lot like I was when I was a girl, McGee. Except that she has 20 boyfriends and I just had you.
Yeah, well, that wasn't because you were unpopular, Snooky. That was because there was an ugly rumor around Peoria that McGee had put a bear trap in Molly Driscoll's porch swing.
That was more than a rumor, sweetheart. For 15 years after that, my father never sat down without first slapping the chair with his cane. Now, listen, go away while I get this stuff back in the closet.
How about that white package with the blue ribbon on it?
McGee, I swear I know absolutely nothing about that.
You wouldn't kid me, would you? After all, when mysterious packages are hid away in the closet...
Heavenly days, what was that?
My belt. It busted. Remember how I've been telling you my belt was on its last legs?
Well, it's a funny place to wear a belt. But I do remember your mentioning it several times.
Looked awful, too. Supposed to have been genuine calf, but I'll bet a cookie its mother was a paper mill. Doggone it, my last belt, too. Oh, well, I can wear a necktie around my waist so I can get downtown and buy a new one.
All right, dearie, all right. You win. Here, open this package.
Why, this is a Christmas package. Gee, I shouldn't open this till Christmas.
Open it.
Well, okay. Well, what do you know? A new belt. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle if this isn't a coincidence.
Remember me to your nephew.
Gee. And with my initials on the buckle. Oh, this is a beauty, Molly. Thanks ever so much.
Don't mention it, and Merry Christmas. First installment.
My gosh, this is really unexpected.
Well, it shouldn't be. The way you've been talking about a new belt the past few weeks, you should have taken out a hinting license.
Here, throw this old one away, will you?
All right, I'll put it in. Why, this is strange.
Huh?
Looks like it had been cut halfway through.
Oh, well, I've had a very sharp appetite lately, and my waist...
Come in.
Hello, Molly. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Dr. Gamble.
Hi, you big front man for the Stork Club. Why call me Gary? You finally agree with me that I look like Cooper?
No, that's just my abbreviation for garrulous.
Why, Doctor, McGee is not garrulous.
I should say not. I haven't been out with a girl since I married Molly.
Yes, I know. You two are the living exhibit A for the scientific theory of the attraction of opposites. Molly is so good-looking and sweet and quiet.
And I'm?
Yes, indeed, in spades. Say, what's all this Christmas stuff around here? You been unwrapping a present, McGee?
Well, he just broke his belt, Doctor. And as long as I was giving him one for Christmas, I thought he might as well have it now.
Beauty, ain't it, Doc? Real pigskin.
I shall not descend to any of the obvious retorts, my boy. It is a very handsome hunk of haberdashery. But aren't you a little ashamed of accepting your gifts now? According to my calendar, it's several days until Christmas.
Well, I was just trying to keep up his spirits and his pants for the next week, Doctor.
What do you use for a calendar, Doc? Cut a notch in a patient for each day of the week?
No, I just glance in the mirror. If I seem to have aged 10 years, I know another day has crept by.
You know, you ought to go away for a good long rest, Doctor. Someplace where you can't get near a telephone, like any drugstore.
Don't think I wouldn't love it, my dear, but I've got to stick around for the Christmas rush.
What Christmas rush? You running a black market in pink pills?
No, but us Cowtown pasteurs expect certain seasonal phenomena about this time of year. Like kids swallowing Christmas tree ornaments. Selfish little animals that they are, an ornament so hard to get. And then, too, digital callosity is almost an annual epidemic.
Heavenly days, what on earth is digital callosity?
Calluses on the fingers. From people rubbing them over greeting cards to see if they're really engraved.
Well, it's nice to have you drop in, Doctor. Particularly without McGee starting an argument with you.
No, just a darn minute. Whom starts all the arguing with whom? Doc always starts them, not me.
Oh, now, don't give us that, little Sir Decibel. You're as bad-tempered as a dime store jackknife, and you know it.
I don't know any such a dirty thing. Just because you always start snarling at me with your big fat teeth don't mean I got a bad temper.
Why, you peripatetic little biological aberration. You have the neurological reactions of a schizophrenic troglodyte.
King's X.
What do you mean, King's X?
Doc don't play fair. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I'll call it off till I look up some one-syllable words, McGee. Anyway, I got to get back to my office. It's probably full of expectant fathers.
Expectant fathers?
Yes, they expect me to tell them beforehand whether to have the nursery decorated in pink or blue.
What do you tell them, Doc?
I give them an evasive answer. I tell them to go fry a pig. Well, Merry Christmas, folks.
Thank you, Doctor. Same to you.
And a Happy New Year, Doc.
Isn't he a sweet old character?
Yeah, great guy. It was a great loss to medicine when he started studying it. What a patient he'd have been.
Say, I wonder if it was he who sent us the big white package with the blue ribbon on it.
Are you kidding? You don't have to play coy with me, Tootsie. I wasn't born yesterday.
Well, you might as well have been. You're so changeable. Now, if you'll go away someplace while I straighten up this closet.
I'll run over to Kramer's drugstore. I got to buy a new fountain pen.
Oh, no, McGee. Don't do that.
Huh? Why not?
Well, I was... Well, why do you need a new fountain pen just this minute? Can't you use your old one?
My old one? I only got one.
Well, I meant... Well, what's the matter with it?
Well, the point is pigeon-toed. Writes 2 lines instead of 1.
But maybe you'll get...
When I registered with it at a hotel last summer, the clerk looks at my signature and says, "You gentlemen want twin beds?" You go ahead and fix the closet, kiddo. I'll run over to Kramer's and get a fountain.
Dear. You win again, McGee. Here. Open this package.
What do you mean?
Go ahead, open it.
Well, okay. Well, I'll be a new fountain pen. Gee, thanks, kid. Oh, this is wonderful.
Merry Christmas. Second installment.
Boy, this is a wonderful pen. Just the kind I wanted, too. And just when I needed it. Why, you could knock me over with a feather, Molly. I never dreamed you... Hey, what are you looking for?
A feather.
Billy Mills from the orchestra and Jingle Bell.
McGee. I've almost got this closet straightened up again.
How about that big white package with the blue ribbon on it? Does it gurgle or rattle or squeak or anything?
Well, I haven't touched it. Somebody around here's got to keep his curiosity under control. And as long as there's only 2 of us, it looks like I'm elected.
Hey, this is a wonderful pen you gave me, Molly.
You like it, dearie?
It's marvelous. Only one thing wrong with it that I can see.
My goodness, what's that?
I just worked a crossword puzzle with it, and it don't spell very good.
That isn't a pen, that's the ink.
Oh. Well, I'm really quite gruntled with it.
You mean disgruntled?
No, I'm very happy. It's the finest pen I... Hello, friend.
Hello there, Mr. Wilcox.
Hi, waxy old man. How do you like the new belt Molly gave me for Christmas?
Say, it's beautiful. But aren't you folks a little previous with your Christmas presents?
Well, he was getting so snoopy, Mr. Wilcox, I just had to give him a belt one way or another. So I took the easy way.
Look, she gave me a fountain pen, too. Ain't that a darb? Writes 10,000 words without filling. Don't know how many he'll write when I fill it. Don't you get it, kids? I says it right.
Ain't funny, McGee.
I thought it had a kind of a funny taint. You like the pen, Junior?
It's very handsome, pal. But better get your name engraved on it. Be ashamed to lose a nice pen like that.
Well, I couldn't get it engraved till after Christmas, Mr. Wilcox. I took it to 7 different jewelers, too.
Gee, did you really, Molly?
Yes, and I got quite an inferiority complex. Leaning over $80,000 worth of diamond necklaces, Trying to get a $3 job of engraving done?
Well, gee, you should have taken it to my cousin, Big Bill Wilcox, on Oak Street, Molly. One of the finest engravers in the country.
I thought all the really great engravers were working for the government, Waxy.
Oh, he used to.
In Washington?
No, Leavenworth. That's why they call him Big Bill. He got caught making 20s out of 10s.
They put him to work making little ones out of big ones for making big ones out of little ones, eh?
Yeah, he's a terrific engraver, though. Well, here, wait a minute. Here, take a look at this common, ordinary little pin.
Well, what about it?
Well, look at the head of it.
Kind of scratched up, isn't it, Junior?
Look at it through this magnifying glass, which I just happen to have with me.
Uh-oh.
Well, heavenly days. Isn't that marvelous?
Let me look at it. Well, I'm a son of a gun. What does it say, Junior? Can't quite read it without my glasses.
It says you don't have to be sharp as a pin to know that Johnson's self-polishing glow coat is the finest beautifier and protector of linoleum.
Imagine writing all that on the head of a pin.
Oh, there's more than that. It says if you're stuck with faded, worn linoleum, bring it back to life and beauty with Johnson's glow coat, the polish that shines as it dries.
My gosh, he is quite an engraver, isn't he, Waxy?
Well, you know, the funny part of it is, it only took him 20 minutes or less to do it.
Oh, that's too much.
Same length of time it takes for glow coat to dry to a mirror-like finish on your linoleum. Now, wasn't that a coincidence?
Amazing. Here, let me put the pin back in your lapel, Mr. Wilcox. I'm afraid it might get lost.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's your story, Junior, and you got stuck with it.
Well, here, let me take your fountain pen, pal. I'll have Big Bill engrave it for you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox.
Thanks, Junior.
Don't mention it. I'll have it back Friday.
Okay.
Isn't he a sweet old... Oh, no, that's Dr. Gamble.
Look, Molly, no kidding. That big white package with the blue ribbon on it. Is that for me?
I tell you, I don't know a thing about it, McGee.
Cross your heart?
Cross my heart.
Well, my gosh, somebody must have... Hey, maybe Beulah put it there. Oh, Beulah. Hey, Beulah.
You call me Miss McGee?
Why should I? You never call me Beulah.
Mr. McGee wanted to know about this big white package with a blue ribbon on it, Beulah.
Did you put it in the closet here, Beulah?
No, sir. That package is a complete stranger to me.
Well, that's strange. Oh, well, we'll find out when we open it at Christmas time. Have you got all your shopping done, Beulah?
Yes, ma'am, practically. All I got left to get stuff for is Papa and Ira.
Ira? Who's Ira?
He's my one and only, sir. At least he's one of the few and far between. Ira, he's the FBI man.
Oh, heavenly days. Federal Bureau of Investigation?
No, ma'am. Friendly but ignorant.
What does he do, Beulah?
He's the insurance man, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he specializes in life insurance with double indemnity.
Indemnity?
Yes, only he may have to give it up on account of a greeting card he got this morning.
On account of a greeting card?
Yeah, sir. You say, from the President of the United States, greetings.
What's his present status, Beulah?
5'9.5" in his socks, Sam.
No. No, how's he classified now?
I classify him as ready and willing, sir. So he's suffering with flat feet and astigmatism.
Tism?
Oh, yes, tis, ma'am. He's so short-sighted he don't know his best friend to cross a taffy pull.
Well, they don't pull taffy in the Army anyway, Beulah. He'll be okay if he can see well enough to pull a sergeant's leg.
That's what I mean. Love that man.
Hey, Molly, I think we ought to open up that package. I think it must have been delivered by mistake.
Well, it might have been at that, McGee. There's no tag on it or anything.
You think we ought to?
Well, I don't know.
Yes, I think we ought to. One side, baby. I'll soon solve this mystery.
Well, if you really... Heavenly days, it's a beautiful negligee.
A Oh, my gosh.
What's the matter?
Oh, gee whiz. Oh, my. That was my present for you, baby. I bought it a month ago and forgot all about it. If I ain't the dumbest bunny...
Oh, now,
ever...
McGee, I think it's lovely and just what I wanted. It's the most...
Oh, now, who... Come in.
Hi, mister. We're all ready.
Ready? Who's all ready for what?
Kenny and Johnny and Buddy and Reddy and me.
Huh?
We're all ready to sing. Come on in, kids.
Well, folks, 3 years ago, Ken Darby of our King's Men wrote for our Christmas show an original musical setting for the poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Everyone seemed to like it so well that we've been asked to do it every Christmas since. And we're glad to do it again tonight.
Okay, Mr. Mcgee. Go on. Sit down now.
Okay.
You and Miss Mcgee sit in a circle. You sit at the piano, Kenny. Ready, everybody? A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hope that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their wee little bed, while visions of sugar plums dance in their wee little heads. Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's there arose such a clatter. I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, threw open the sash. Then, what to my wondering I should appear but a miniature sleigh and a tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick that I knew right away that it must be St. Nick. All bundled in fur from his head to his foot, old Santa was covered with ashes and soot. I drew in my head and was turning around when down the chimney he came with a pound.
His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses. His nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow. The beard on his chin was as white as the snow.
The stump of a little old pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke went around and around and around his head like a wreath. He was so chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. Then I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. He had a broad face, and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. He gave me a wink of his eye and a twist of his head, a chuckle and a smile I knew all the while I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings.
Oh, boy.
Then turned with a jerk, then laying a finger
aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rode. He sprang to his sleigh, to his seat, gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, and he cried, Merry Christmas to all, and to all, good night after Christmas and all through the house, not a creature is stirring, not even a mouse. The presents are scattered and broken, I fear, and St. Nicholas won't come again for a year. The children are nestled all warm in their wee little beds, in her kerchief and I in my cap, are settled at last for a long winter's
Ladies and gentlemen, 2,000 years ago, a star shone over Bethlehem to light the way to peace and goodwill on earth. Tonight, that star is reflected in the windows of millions of your homes.
So our Christmas wish to all of you is that the men and women who have gone out to fulfill the promise of that symbol may soon return. Mission accomplished.
Good night.
Good night, all.
I heard him exclaim, and he drove out of sight. Merry Christmas to all and to all.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Words at War.
Stop him! Stop him! Fire!
Stop! Hold! Or I'll shoot! So, trying to give a signal to the enemy, huh? This will teach you, you swine! Stop it! Stop it, you fool! You kill him! And what's wrong with that? He's a traitor. He set fire to the haystack. Look, it's shaped like an arrow and points to the factory.
Fool, if you kill him now, how are we going to find out who his accomplices are? In the stomach. Why couldn't you have shot him in the leg, you fool? Why don't you use your brain?
I was only trying to do my duty. I saw...
Never mind what you saw. Let's get him to the hospital immediately. There they come. They saw the signal. They'll be back tomorrow night. And then it'll be all over for us. We should get to Herr Bomber at once.
The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime, presents another of the most widely discussed programs in America, Words at War, dramatizing the most representative books to come out of this great world conflict. Tonight, Albert Maltz's new novel about Germany, The Cross and the Arrow, dramatized for radio by Ben Kagan.
Herr Bomber, I'm Commissar Kerr, Gestapo.
Yes, come in, Commissar. I've been expecting you. Now I'll give you the background of the case. We make medium tanks here and turn them out like rolls. We used to be in Dusseldorf, but the bombings got too hot, so we were moved 7 months ago. As you'll see tomorrow, we're situated in a wood. All around us is farming community. Our camouflage people have done a first-rate job. In 8 months, there have been British planes over here, but always after another objective. But tonight, our worker here tried to signal the plane.
How?
My dear Commissar, I have no intention of keeping it a secret from you. On the east edge of the factory, there's a farm. The owner is a widow, Frau Ling. Her hay has recently been cut. The saboteur named Wegler piled the hay in an arrow pointing toward the factory. When the planes came over, he touched it off. It so happens our SS men were close by on patrol. The woman Ling yelled. We got there in time to douse the fire before it burned too long.
Do you think the British plane spotted the fire?
I don't know, but we have to act on that possibility. Naturally, we'll take all protective measures. But meanwhile, if they didn't see the arrow, there's danger that the scum working with Wegler will try again. And that's why you're here.
Do you know for a fact that the saboteur is part of a group?
No, I assume it.
Was there anyone with him tonight?
Not that we know.
You've examined him?
He's in the hospital with a bullet in his gut. Who knows if he'll ever be able to talk to him.
Bad. Well, I want Wegler's record, of course, and the record of every friend of his in the factory. What about the farm woman?
She and Wegler were going to be married. That's how Wegler came to be on her farm in the first place.
The woman who betrayed him?
Yes.
What reason?
I haven't talked to her. There hasn't been time. Besides, she was hysterical. She ought to be ready for questioning now.
Good. Oh, by the way, when do you suppose we'll be able to talk to Vagler?
I don't know. He's still unconscious. I've left instructions with Dr. Soda at the hospital to let me know as soon as he comes out of the anesthetic. It seems the doctor isn't sure yet whether Vagler will live.
Do you know of any reason why Vagler would have wanted to see the factory destroyed by the British? Is there any personal motivation?
None. As a matter of fact, only yesterday he was awarded a medal for being the best type of German worker. And he had every reason for hating the British. His wife was killed in an air raid, and his son died in the Battle of Narvik.
I see. All right, Herr Bomber, and I shall proceed at once.
Nurse, what is Vagler's temperature now?
99, Dr. Soda.
Up a few points. Take his pulse every half hour, nurse.
Really now, as though every hour weren't enough.
Damn it, woman, will you do as I say? We must bring him out of the ether quickly.
Yes, sir. It's not that I mind, only I don't like to see you lose your calm. A doctor should be calm. What happens to a patient when a doctor isn't calm?
He dies. He's buried, and the worms enjoy him. Soon it will happen to you, nurse. Now every half hour. Remember, I want you to call me at once if his pulse goes higher than 101.
Yes, sir.
The drip infusion is to continue. You might be putting some wet gauze on his lips.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Now you take care of him properly. He must be in condition to talk by morning. Unless he dies first.
What will happen? I'm waking up. I've been asleep. No. I've been sick. There's a pain in my belly. Yes, I remember now. The elite guard. The flash of moonlight on the rifle barrel. I must be in the factory hospital. I'm wounded and trapped. As soon as they find out I'm conscious, they'll be after me to talk. Bauma will come. He will want to know who my accomplices were. He will want to know why I signaled the British planes. They will force me to talk. There is a solution. I must kill myself, and quickly. The only thing I have to do is rip off the bandage. But then, how will I know? How will I know if the British planes saw the arrow? I must know. I must remain alive until tomorrow night.
Well, nurse?
He hasn't stirred. Pulse 105. No septicemia.
Peculiar. Very peculiar.
Could it be a cranial injury, Doctor?
I don't see any signs of it. But I don't quite understand this extended unconsciousness. Look at him. He lies there like a log. Doesn't even stir. Nurse, I want you to look at him every 15 minutes. And call me the instant he comes to.
So, they think I have a skull injury. Good. The only thing I have to do is lie like a log, as the doctor expressed it. If only the throbbing in the belly would stop. It will be hard this way. No mistake about that. But it must be done. Not a sound shall escape from my lips. Not a sound. Dear God, make the British planes come. Make them come tonight. And help me think of something. I must not give in to this pain.
Rowling, come in. Sit down, please. You have my deepest admiration. What you did tonight earns the gratitude of every German. My name is Commissar Kerr.
What about the man Vagler, Commissar?
He's in the hospital here.
He's all right?
The operator, we don't know yet.
What will happen if he gets well?
He'll be executed for treason, of course.
So? Good. Very good.
Still, it must be hard on you.
On me? Why should I care?
You were going to be married, weren't you?
I? No such thing. A complete mistake, sir. To him? Ah.
I see. Well, tell me what happened tonight.
Well, I was in bed. Something woke me up. I don't know what. Then I saw him through the window running in the fields. So I yelled to him. The window was open, but he didn't stop. I could see that he was doing something with the hay, but I didn't know what. I ran outside. He wouldn't talk to me, and when I tried to stop him, he knocked me down. Then when he began to pour the kerosene on the hay, I understood what he was doing. I saw the way he had the hay piled, I mean. I ran toward the fire and yelled. He ran after me with a pitchfork. He wanted to kill me. That's all.
Nothing more that you can think of? Anything he ever said that would be a clue?
No.
Oh, you haven't been frank with me. I think I know why. To a simple, honest woman like you, the Gestapo commissaire seems a strange man. Now, you mustn't be afraid. I, the Gestapo commissaire, am relying on you to help me. Now, you know Wegler, and you can tell me about him. You're going to be married to him.
No, I told you before. He was an acquaintance.
Very good. You want me to consider your link with the traitor? Very good, I will. Some reason you're denying what everybody knows. That you knew Wegler, that you were lovers, that you intended to be married.
It's a lie.
For goodness sake, woman. Was you who called the guards and saved the factory? Why are you lying now? Perhaps there'll have to be 2 customers for the axe. An axe isn't particular, you know. The head rolls into the basket just the same.
Please.
Out with it, woman, and I want the truth.
I was so afraid. I didn't know what might happen to me.
Nothing will happen to you.
I was going to marry him. He was at my house tonight. Then he left. I thought to go home to the barracks. I went to my room. Then I saw him like I told you. The rest is just how I say.
Why did he do it? That's what I want to know. Why?
I don't know. He told me he was going to do something. Something important, he said. I asked him what, but he wouldn't tell. He said we were both guilty because of the pole.
Guilty? What does that mean?
That's what he said. It sounds crazy to me.
Who's the pole?
On my farm, a prisoner. He works for me now. I bought him.
Wegler was mixed up with the pole, eh?
No, he couldn't have been. I've only had the pole since 2 nights ago. There was no time.
Oh, in that case, why did he say he was guilty?
That's what I don't know. I've been thinking all night. I think he was crazy.
Yes? Why do you think so?
To do a thing like that. He had no reason.
How do you know he had no reason?
Oh, he was always patriotic.
You suspected nothing? He never said anything?
You think I wouldn't have reported the slightest thing?
Did he ever criticize the party leader?
Oh, no, sir.
You mean he didn't even criticize Labor Front leader Baumer? Wegler wanted to work on your farm, didn't he? What did he say when he was refused permission?
He hardly ever spoke of it. He just told me that he was called for the army.
Oh, he didn't want to go to the army, surely. He's no youngster.
He only told me tonight. I don't know what he felt. He was just talking crazy, like I said.
So you think Wegler was crazy, and that's why he set off the signal. He had no accomplices.
Yes, sir, he must have been crazy to do a thing like that. That's the only explanation I know.
Hello, Soda. This is Baumer. Is Wegler conscious yet?
No.
I want you to wake him.
I'm sorry,
Soda,
but...
you're not cooperating. In an hour, I face a meeting with the superintendent. I've got to see Wegler before that. Why can't you use smelling salts or give him some drug?
It's this way, Baumer. I might give him a strychnine injection,
Would
but...
that bring him to consciousness?
It might, but...
Give it to him.
Just listen a moment, please. I promise you I'll do as you say, but listen to the facts first.
I'm listening.
The strychnine might bring him to consciousness, but it might also kill him.
I'll take a chance. He's no good to me this way.
But he might die before he's had a chance to talk, and
Look here, Soda. I have an appointment for 8 sharp. The entire factory's to meet. By that time, I want what's behind this business of Wegler's if I have to tear it out of his guts with pliers. You hear me?
All right, Baumer.
At 8 o'clock. No later.
He's still unconscious, Doctor.
Incredible. Well, we'll try the strychnine.
Oh, they're going to give me a stimulant. Well, it won't do any good, Doctor. I'm going to die tonight, not before. And you won't get anything out of me. Go ask Pauline. She'll tell you. Pauline, my betrothed, who betrayed me. If not for her, the arrow of burning hay would have blazed up unhampered. Yet I don't hate Bertholine. She was a good woman. She loved me. Curious how we first met.
Well, so you're awake at last. Now get out of my house, and quick, or I'll call the police. Well, are you going?
If you please. How did I get here?
You broke in like a robber, that's how.
Broke in?
I suppose you don't remember. I didn't mean it. I was drunk. My mind's a blank. Oh, yes, I know you men. Pigs, every one.
Please, I am so sorry. I'll leave right away. Only tell me where I am.
In my farmhouse, that's where. You're from the factory, I suppose. The factory's down the road. The pity you couldn't land there where you belong instead of coming here and breaking things like a madman.
Breaking things? What did I break?
There, the glass.
Oh, well, don't worry. I'll pay you for it.
And the dog. Will you pay me for him, too?
What do you mean?
My dog that you killed last night.
I? How did I kill him?
How should I know how you killed him? You did. Then you came into my kitchen and broke the glass and spread yourself out on the floor and slept here all night.
I'll pay. Of course I'll pay. I'm an honest man. If you say I killed your dog, I'll make good.
The next day, I went back to the farmhouse and paid. Then I went to her farm again. We talked.
Where do you come from, Herr Wegler?
Düsseldorf.
Ah, Düsseldorf. You have a family, I suppose?
No. I had a boy and a wife, Howling. My boy died in the attack on Narvik. My wife was killed in a bombing. And now I'm alone.
I hate the war, too. The war killed my husband. It's 2 years now, and it's almost a year that they took my son, Rudy. He was only 17.
When I was 17, I was in the last war.
You? Oh, you're a fine man, Herr Wegler. But why do you have to drink like a pig? Why do you turn yourself into such a beast?
I never drank before. I don't like to get drunk even now. It's just that, you see, it's lonely in the factory, and when I think of my wife, I can't stand to think of my wife. I see her lying on the ground with her face all cut up, her arms cut off, body looking like some butcher had dug his knife into her. Makes me want to kill somebody.
I understand, Herr Wegler. I understand. Pulse 101, Doctor. Do you think we'll really have an air raid tonight?
I don't know. It's possible. Bauma tells me they have already begun to build fortifications, and some guns are coming in this morning. Syringe, please.
Yes, I can see them from here. It's as if the whole factory's out there digging. Here you are, Doctor.
I must hold still. Mustn't move. Think of something else. That night in front of the farmhouse, when Bertha and I discussed our coming marriage.
What a night. Smell the air, Willie.
Yes, it's beautiful. Listen to me, Bertha. I want to tell you something.
I am listening.
Let's get married.
Oh, there you go again. I told you we must get permission from my son, Rudy. Legally, he owns this farm, and he must approve.
But what if he says no? Anyway, it's crazy for two grown-up people to ask a boy of 18 for permission to marry.
He won't say no.
Then why don't we get married now?
That I can't do, Willie. After all, my own son. In decency, I have to let him know beforehand. I've just explained the law to you. We're hereditary peasants.
I understand the law. But what if your boy does say no?
He won't. I promise.
You don't answer me, Bertha. I say, let's get married. You think I need this farm to support you? I don't.
Oh, you. Like a phonograph record. Good night, my phonograph record. I'm going to sleep now. And you'd better go to sleep, too. And stop worrying over your stupid worries, whatever they are.
Worry? Why? Who worries?
You do. It's no use lying to me. I wish you could get another job. That terrible hammer you work with all day. It's enough to drive a man crazy.
You know, Bertha, I've started thinking the same thing myself. I don't like the hammer so much anymore. It seems harder now.
Well, never mind, Willie. Soon we'll get married, won't we? And then you'll come and live on the farm.
That's what I was thinking. For another little while, Bertha, I guess I can't stick it out.
And then he came home. Her son, Rudy.
You ready for the coffee now?
Yes, Mama. Bring it in. It's a wonderful meal, Mama. Hey, Willie?
Certainly was, especially the champagne. You certainly got a lot of nice things in France, Rudy.
Those sweaters and the night dresses and the perfume.
Yes.
Rudy said he picked them up for practically nothing.
You know who had it lucky? The first soldier that went into France. He used to spread butter on candy bars, they told me. stores were half cleaned out by the time I arrived.
How rich those Frenchies must have been.
Yeah, rich and fat and stupid. French always used to boast of their culture. What culture? I know more than barbarians. Have their minds on good living and money. But this champagne they make it. Some stuff. Hey, Willie.
Rudy, your mother has written to you. We want to get married. I assure you.
Oh. So you want to get married, eh, Willie? Well.
Rudy, please, say yes now. You're leaving tonight.
Yes, I'm leaving tonight. Leaving my farm. Sure, why not get married? What do I care? Likely send me to the front and I get killed anyway.
No, Rudy, don't say things like that.
But listen, I want one thing understood. I run the farm. What I say goes.
Absolutely. I give you my hand on it.
Oh, isn't it wonderful, Willie? Now you'll be able to leave your job in the factory and come to work on the farm. What you wanted all your life, Willie. Oh, I can hardly believe it.
Bertha, wake up. I have to talk to you.
Oh, Willie. What's the matter? Did anything happen to Rudy?
No, he took the train. Bertha, everything's turned rotten. You and I, we want to make a good life together, yes. I used to think we could live on this farm like it was an island away from everybody. And now we can't.
Why? What happened?
Listen, tonight we had a celebration.
So?
It's so nice to drink champagne, to smoke decent cigarettes. And Rudy, your son, brought you presents. Perfume, nightgowns, a sweater.
And what of that?
I'll tell you how Rudy got them, Bertha. But Rudy told me when he was drunk. She was a rich French woman, Rudy said. She lived outside a small town. She had an estate with a large farm. The day before the trucks were to come and take away the grain, she burned down the farm. So Rudy was sent with the others to arrest her. They didn't wait for anyone to open the door. They broke it down. The woman ran out of bed in her nightgown, a pink one, like the one you're wearing. Then Rudy's corporal, who was in charge, told the woman she was under arrest. She didn't say anything. Only she asked the corporal if she could have a few minutes to get dressed. He told her yes. Then, when she went into her room, the corporal called the men together. Listen, he said. This is how Rudy told me. That woman is going to be shot this morning. Why should we let her go to her death unhappy? You saw for yourself. She's all right. Will we have some fun with her? So they all lined up.
Stop
and
it. Stop it.
Then, before they took her away, the soldiers went to her closet. The corporal told them, help yourselves, boys. So that's how a German mother got a fine sweater and 2 nightgowns and a bottle of perfume.
Oh, what do you want me to say, Willie? It isn't women who make war.
You don't understand, Bert. It's not just war itself. It's that Rudy wasn't ashamed. Rudy was proud. Rudy was proud. Listen to me, Bertha. There's rottenness here. When Rudy was telling me his story, laughing the way he did, I wanted to kill him. This rottenness I won't live with. I won't live with it. I'm a decent man.
Your name is Baranski?
Yes, sir. Stefan Bironsky.
Now then, Baranski, you have any knowledge of Begler's motivation for setting that fire? Did he have any Confederates that you know about? Did you see anyone with him?
No, sir. He himself alone came to the barn and talked to me.
Begler spoke to you? What about?
He wanted me to escape, sir. But I wouldn't.
You're lying.
No, sir, I swear it. He came to me in the barn.
Go on.
He spoke to me through the little window. First he gave me a cigarette, but I told him it was forbidden for me to smoke. Then he said he would write a letter for me to my home, but I said it was forbidden, sir.
Come to the escape.
Yes, sir. Then he said he would break open the barn doors for me any night. He said he would bring me clothes and some money and his own police card, sir.
So, why didn't you escape?
It's forbidden to escape, sir.
I see. And did he tell you why he wanted to do all this for you?
No, sir. Just that he wanted to help me, sir.
Did you know him someplace before?
No, sir.
Did he ever speak to you before 2 nights ago?
No, sir.
Why did he want to help you then? For your good looks?
I don't know, sir.
You don't know. No, of course you don't know. He was crazy, that's why. Crazy as a bedbug.
I tried to tell you, Bertha. I tried.
Oh, Willie, it's all arranged. I've written to the Labor Front leader in your factory, and in a few days you'll be transferred to the farm. Well, darling, don't you have anything to say?
Bertha, who is in the barn?
In the barn? Why, a Pole, of course. He's to work for me. 17 marks I had to pay.
Bertha, how can you? How can you even say it? You bought a man, Bertha. You paid money for a human being.
But these are prisoners. Besides, I'm a farmer, Willie. You're not. If I don't meet my quotas, they'll take away my farm. You want that?
I want you to take back the pole.
Take him back? Are you crazy, Willie? I already paid for him. Should I return the pole and let my hay rot?
Yes, yes.
Oh, sure. How easy it is for you to talk. It isn't your farm. What do you care?
But I do care. Bertha, darling, take the pole back. Please, I beg you. I'll work for you at night, on Sundays, when I'm transferred. Bertha, listen to me.
You listen to me. This is your responsibility, too. We're to be married, remember. And I'm not to blame for the war. I didn't start it.
No, I don't really blame you, Bertha. You just didn't understand. When you betrayed me, you were only doing something that's been bred into you.
Well, Willie, what did the Labor Front leader say? When can we get married?
Bertha, I'm not to be transferred to the farm.
You're not? Oh, well, in a few months, maybe.
Bertha, they've called me for the army.
Oh. Well, never mind. The war will end soon.
Bertha, I'm not going to their army. I have something to do.
What do you have to do? What are you talking about?
I have something to do. A deed.
You don't make sense, Willie.
It's like... I mean, what Rudy did, you see. I'm guilty, too. It's like I brought you the sweater myself. I've been part of it. I make tanks. And you've been part of it, too, with the farm and the pole. We're all guilty.
Willie, I think you're drunk.
We're swine, Bertha. They've turned us all into swine. Now they want me to volunteer for the army. It's more war they want. More killings and more sweaters and more people to sell in the village at 17 marks. I won't do it. I stop here. Right now I stop. Somebody has to say no to them.
Well, what'll you do?
Bertha, will you help me?
Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're tired. What are you doing? What are you doing with the kerosene? Willie, come back here. Willie!
I wonder what time it is. It's dark. Soon they'll come. Dear God, let them come. Don't let them go anyplace else. It must be here tonight.
Aunt, you better hurry or you'll miss the execution.
What's all the excitement?
Oh, they finally found out who set off the fire. It was the Pole who worked on the woman's farm, and he's being executed. He confessed.
Oh? I heard it was Begler.
Well, confidentially, I heard it, too. But how would it look for the morale of the factory if they told us Begler did it?
Yes, that makes sense.
Of course. So now they're executing the Pole, and the whole incident will soon be forgotten.
Unless the British planes saw the signal.
Yeah, that would be too bad. Well, let's go watch the fun, huh?
Let them come. Let them come. Blast the factory. Kill them all. Wipe them out. They're here. They're here. Now all this will be wiped out. All their rottenness. My signal was seen. Now, the only thing I have to do is rip off the bandage. It will be all over. My deed has been accomplished. Maybe there will be others who will follow. Blast them, Britishers. Blast them.
Tonight on Words at War, we've brought you Albert Maltz's novel, The Cross and the Arrow, adapted for radio by Ben Kagan. The cast included Louis Van Ruten as Herr Wegler, Dorothy Francis as Frau Ling, Ed Begley as Kommissar Kerr, and Reese Taylor as Herr Balmer. The music was arranged and played by William Meader. Production, Garnet Garrison. Next week, Words at War will present the radio dramatization of The Scapegoats of History, based upon a YMCA pamphlet by Kenneth M. Gould, and The History of Bigotry in the U.S. by Gustavus Myers. This series of programs is brought to you in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime by the National Broadcasting Company and the independent radio stations associated with the NBC network. Jack Costello speaking. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
The Strange Dr. Weird.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? You seem a bit nervous. Perhaps a story would take your mind off whatever's worrying you. I have one I'm sure you'll like. It takes place on a tiny island in the mystery-haunted South Pacific. And I call it White Pearls of Freedom. And now for my story, White Pearls of Terror. In the small harbor of the tiny island of Barota, a barren, desolate bit of coral lost in the South Pacific, a dilapidated pearling boat rides at anchor. In a trading shack of corrugated iron on the shore, two burly, bearded white men watch a half-breed merchant gather together supplies, listening as they wait to the monotonous beating of a native drum in the darkness outside.
For Pete's sake, Wong, what's that infernal racket anyway?
Honored father sacrifices chicken to turn away anger of the storm god, Captain Blake.
Well, tell him to stop it. It's getting on my nerves.
Take it easy, Blake. We'll be going in a few minutes. The glass is falling fast, and there is a storm coming up. We're in the typhoon season now, you know.
And I'll be plenty glad to see the last of this rotten speck of coral, believe me. Even though we're leaving with empty pockets, we can't go too soon.
Wong, sorry you'll find no pearls. Not a year better, maybe. Here are supplies. $11, please.
All right, pay him, Phelps.
In a moment. Wong, why do you and your father live all alone here on Barota? Don't you ever find it lonely?
Wong, an honored father, never lonely, Mr. Phelps.
You know, Wong, in Tahiti, I met a native who knew you. He told me your mother was Chinese and your father used to be a Tahiti witch doctor.
It's true. You pay now, please?
He told me something else, too. He said the two of you live here because you know a secret pearling bed down the reef. Oh. And that hidden in that stinking back room of yours, you have a leather bag full of the finest white pearls that ever came out of the South Seas.
No, it's not true.
I think it is. Grab him, Blake.
No, no.
Still, Wong, or I'll break your arm.
It's not true. Wong, an honored father, have no pearls.
And I say it is true. And so, we're not leaving Barota with empty hands. Before we leave, Wong, you're going to tell us where you keep those pretty white pearls.
Phelps, I'm going out there and put a bullet through that infernal witch doctor father of Wong's. That drum is driving me crazy.
Oh, stop it, Blake. We got to finish with Wong and get away. There's a storm coming up, and we got to be well offshore when it hits.
All right, then, make him talk.
A little more pressure on this cord round his forehead. Yeah, well, Wong.
Wong down.
Yeah, it's more like it. Where are they?
The corner behind you. A board is loose.
Take a look, Blake.
Right, sure. Yeah, there's a loose board here, all right. And a little leather pouch under it. I've got it.
Bring it here. Let's take a look.
Yeah, hold out your hand. I'll pour them out. Look, 6 white pearls as big as marble.
Only 6. Yeah, there should be more. Where are the rest, Wong?
Oh, no more, please. 6 pearls all.
Wait a minute, I think he's telling the truth. Hey, Phelps, listen to that thunder, will you? We got to get outside the reefs in a hurry.
All right. I thought there'd be more. But these 6 will do nicely. They should bring a couple of thousand apiece. In 2 months, we'll be in San Francisco living like kings.
No, Too late.
What do you mean? Huh?
Listen.
The drum. It's getting louder. Listen to it. Now it stopped.
And God of the storm hath answered. Prayer of honest father for vengeance accepted.
What are you talking about?
Honest father knows you touch a wrong. In the darkness he makes prayer to bring punishment. Now he will make sacrifice. Listen.
What was that?
Honest father makes greater sacrifice to his God. He gives his own life. Now you have pearls. But they bring you only evil. They bring you death. The creeping death that walks with you in life. When you hear the drum, think of the father of Wang and the death he sent you.
Shut him up, will you? Make him stop. Shut him up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it. Now they're both dead. Come on, we got to get to the boat.
Hey, Phelps.
Huh?
Listen to that wind. It's too late. We can't get away. We can't get away.
Our story will continue in a moment. But first, is there a doctor in the house?
Young man, I am a doctor.
Oh, so you are, Dr. Weird, after a fashion. But can you handle this case?
Well, I cure all cases. Permanently.
Well, here are the facts. The patient is seen frequently in business offices, on street corners, everywhere. His clothes are always neat, impeccably stylish, yet something about him just isn't right. Brief diagnosis shows he's in perfect shape, except for his hat. Gentlemen, this may be your case. Too often, a poorly made, shapeless hat can spoil your whole appearance. Don't take chances. Choose a smart, up-to-the-minute Adam. They're correctly shaped and styled and made of the finest all-fur felt. No wonder men who are tops in the business, sport, and entertainment world wear an Adam. For Adam is tops in hats. So stop in at any Adam store or authorized dealer. There are thousands from coast to coast, and set yourself up in a nice new Adam hat. Now, Dr. Weird.
And now to continue my story, White Pearls of Terror. For 2 days, a typhoon raged over the tiny island of Barota, while Phelps and Blake cowered inside the trading shack that had belonged to the dead half-breed merchant Wong. The wind hurled their boat on the reef and sank it, blew down most of the palm trees on the island, carried away the storehouse where Wong's provisions had been kept. When at last the wind died and the sun shone again, Blake and Phelps crawled out of the shack to stare dazedly at a scene of utter desolation.
Phelps, look, the boat's gone. We're stranded here. I tell you, we're stranded here.
Oh, stow it, Blake. There'll be a trading vessel along soon.
Yeah, but suppose there isn't. We'll die here. The grub's all been washed away. The palm trees are down. We'll starve to death. It's a curse. The curse Wong's father put on us. We shouldn't have taken the pearls. We shouldn't have taken them.
I said stow it. Suppose we have to stay here a few months. We got the shack for shelter, and we can live on shellfish. We still got the pearls. When we do get away, we'll live like kings.
We'll never get away. We're going to die here. All during the storm, I heard that drum beating, the witch doctor's drum, telling us we're going to die here.
Get that grip on yourself, will you? Wong's dead. And the old witch doctor's dead, too. Their bodies are gone. The sharks have finished them by now. When we were rescued, we only had to say they were killed in a storm. And we'll be in the clear. We'll be all right.
No, the drum. I heard it beating. We'll never get away. We're going to die.
This'll shut you up. Oh, yeah. I say we're going to be all right.
The days became weeks, and the weeks became months. Blake and Phelps lived on shellfish and coconuts and drank rainwater. Day after day, they scanned the horizon for sign of a rescue ship. And day after day, Blake's despair mounted.
Blake, come on, get up. It's your turn to go down to the beach and dig clams and keep an eye out for a ship.
No, it's no use. We're never going to be rescued.
We may be rescued today. Come on now, turn out.
I tell you, we're going to stay here forever. We're going to die here.
We're still alive, ain't we?
Alive. Nothing to eat but clams and crabs and coconuts. I'd rather be dead. You hear me? I'd rather be dead.
I tell you, we're going to be rescued. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Listen. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear anything.
There it goes again. Don't you understand? It's a ship. We're as good as rescued right now.
I didn't hear anything except the drum. The old witch doctor's drum. It's beating again, just like it did that night.
Blake, get hold of yourself. Come on. I'll prove that was a ship we heard. Here, come on down to the shore.
The drum. I can hear the drum.
Look, Blake. A British gunboat off the reefs and a ship's boat heading for the shore. We're saved.
No, it's too late. The drum. He said when we heard the drum to remember his vengeance, the creeping death.
Blake, get hold of yourself, will you? They see us. They're calling us. Oh, we're saved. And we got the pearls. In a month, we'll be in San Francisco living like kings.
No, it's too late. The drum is beating. It's bewitching the pearls. We haven't got any pearls anymore. They've stuck to your face now. Little round pearls, 2 of them, 3 of them. They're stuck to your face.
No, I tell you there's no drums beating. It's just your mind. It's
There. Now you hear it too, don't you?
No, but on your face. 2 little white spots. Silvery white spots.
Yes, they're the pearls that have been bewitched. The drum. You listen to it?
Go on, Blake. Those silvery spots.
The drum. It won't stop.
Blake, we've been on this island almost a year. Living in that stinking little shack where Wong and his father lived. Eating out of their dishes. Sleeping in their blankets.
It's louder and louder.
No, I know why Wong and his father lived here all alone. They didn't want anyone to know. That's what the marks on our face mean. The creeping death.
The drum. It says that we're never going to get away. That we're going to die here.
Yes, you're right. We are going to die here someday. Because now nobody's ever going to take us off the island. Wong and his father were lepers. And now we're lepers too. Since we've been on this island, we've both become lepers.
Well, how do you feel now? Perhaps what you really need to steady your nerves is a nice trip. A voyage to the South Seas. You could stop at Baroda and meet Phelps and Blake. Yes, they're still living there, quite alone. They'd welcome a little company and... Oh, you're going? We'll drop in again soon. I'm always home. Just look for the house on the other side of the cemetery. The house of Dr. Weir.